You're listening to the Otasso Outdoors Podcast.
Do. Caleb's got to do it because he's got the bunker busters on.
Oh,
He already knows. The first guest.
that's a high place of honor right there.
Hey,
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Otasso Outdoors Podcast. I am Caleb. I'm your host, and I am joined, as always, by Reed Robinson,
Howdy.
my co-host. Hunter just ducked out. He was here for a...
He had a hard out tonight.
Yep.
I'm not even going to make the joke. Anyways.
If you're tuning in for the first time, you will probably hear one of three segments to this show. Segment number one is What You Got, Buddy. That's where we all bring articles or headlines that we find interesting, and we discuss them at length. Segment number two
is our Spotlight series, where we pull on our network of interesting people within the outdoors world. We bring them on, we dive into who they are, what they bring to the outdoors industry, and we bring you guys along for the ride. Segment number three is Head to Head. That's where one of us is the game czar / quizmaster, brings a bunch of pre-prepared questions to the PodBunker, and then the other members that are in the PodBunker go head to head. It's kind of a trivia / game show that we have a good time with. We haven't done it in a while, so we got to get one of those on the books here. So actually, if you guys have really good outdoor trivia questions, send it to us on Instagram at otasso.outfitters. That would be appreciated, and we will throw it in with our next head-to-head episode. We're now on YouTube. I think we're gonna have to remind people for like the next however many episodes. We got it's a real thing.
We got cameras rolling. We got video. So make sure to go subscribe. Hit the bell button on the YouTube so that you guys get notified every time we drop a video. Outside of that, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts for audio only if you're one of those people who likes to listen on their commute. Instagram, like I said, is otasso.outfitters, and then our website is otassooutfitters.com, which has all of our hoodies, hats, t-shirts, all of that good stuff. So you clicked on it today, you know what it is. We have another Spotlight series. we just got distracted. So usually while we're recording, we've got some kind of like live cam on the nature live cam, just to clarify, on our TV here in the PodBunker, and it's either like an eagle's nest, but Reed put it on a live stream of a bunch of brown bear in the river eating salmon and stuff. And while we were in the middle of our intro, I saw one mount another.
A little salmon and slamming, if you know what I'm saying. A little trout and pull-out game.
Really
Sex and sushi. Let's go.
I lost my train of thought there for a second. So
putting the grizz in grizzly.
Banging bears. Anyway, back to what we were saying before our live cam became a live cam. Today's our Spotlight series. So coming at you from the PodBunker, this is the first time there's ever been another Caleb in this bunker.
Yeah, so this is actually a really confusing thing in my life. So at my right, I have my cousin Caleb Reeder, and at my left, I have my cousin Caleb Opper. Caleb Reeder's sister's name is Grace. Caleb Opper's wife's name is Grace. So when I mention I was hanging out with Caleb and Grace, it always gets very, very confusing.
So welcome to the PodBunker, Mr. Caleb Reeder.
Glad you made it. I see you rocking the bunker
Thanks
busters.
for having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that mic a little bit higher towards your mouth.
Oh,
there we go.
right there. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
now we can
there
hear
we
your
go.
beautiful voice.
Yeah.
We have to get maximum volume out of you.
There you go.
So, what are your first impressions of the PodBunker?
I think it's pretty sweet down here. It's a totally like a dude chill lounge. It's pretty sick.
Oh, I
It's
like that.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty sweet.
A
Can
dude
we-
chill lounge.
Should we put that on the door? Just
Dude Chill
have
Lounge.
somebody
Dude
on
Chill
Etsy
Lounge.
make us a sign that just says the Dude Chill Lounge.
I feel like if you get it from Etsy, you can't put it in the bunker.
Yeah.
So does that mean
Maybe if you get it from Sears.
we could do it with a Dremel tool? Just
carve it with a
straight
knife.
into the door. Just
Yeah.
the dude chill lounge.
We're actually going to disguise the door as we're going to get a like a steel plate and have somebody stencil, or not a like
There were two options we were gonna do. We were gonna either do it like a fake vault, like a gun safe door with like the big handle,
Yep.
and like make it
that'd
sheet
be
metal,
sick.
and then you open it up. Either that, or it was gonna be like a false door where you come to the bottom of the stairs and it looks like just like a shelf of like canned goods, and then you've got to like tip over the can of canned whatever.
That sounds
green
complicated. though.
Green, yeah,
Yeah.
beans.
pull the green beans to get down in the bunker. But we're going to have with the vault door, we were going to have a buddy of mine that does pinstriping, like pinstripe the whole gold and black, and like do a custom Tasso Outfitters safe company or something like that,
That'd be pretty
or
cool.
a Tasso safe company.
But we
That'd be
decided
pretty
to
sick.
invest all our money into camera equipment instead.
That's kind of
Yeah.
important if you're gonna do a podcast.
This is
A little bit.
This is true.
Yeah. So the dude chill lounge is from the outside.
The Dremel will be coming in clutch. is what
really
you're
not
saying.
that impressive from
Right.
the outside.
Just all right, Caleb Reeder, who the heck are you?
I'm Reed's cousin. I mean, that's about the coolest cousin, right?
Yeah, you're my coolest cousin.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
I'll endorse that.
All right,
Yeah,
you've been backed.
Well,
That's good.
if you're backed by Reed,
doesn't
I
mean
don't
a
know
whole.
if
It
that- I don't know
doesn't
how
mean a
much that
whole
means,
lot.
but yeah, I was just about to say. Yeah.
Okay, so where are you from? Like, what was your involvement in the outdoors? What do you do for work? Let's dive a little bit into who you are.
Well, I'm just from around the Okemos Lansing area. Growing up, I was just always involved into hunting between mostly my grandpa before he passed. He really got me involved into it. My dad used to do it as a kid a little bit, but then got involved with more work-related things and cattle and stuff like that, and kind of got out of it. And then once my grandpa got me into it, then I was really big into it, and then I kind of drugged my dad back into it. So that was kind of cool just to get him back into the outdoors a little bit. And it was just kind of good for him. He was like, this is so much better than I remember it being, you know what I mean? And just like that kind of experience was just kind of cool to get him back into it. But I've been doing it my whole life. I mean, since I was 6, I've had a shotgun in my hand, walking around chasing chipmunks through the woods. You know what I mean? Hopping logs and stuff. But
The generational aspect of it seems cool because you talk about how your grandpa Reeder was kind of like the patriarch of the family that got that's where hey, if you were hunting, that's kind of where it came from. And
100%.
it's the
Same
same thing
here.
same
Yeah,
thing on your side too,
100%,
which is super duper cool.
yeah.
And the cool part about it is, like, Caleb and I we're both deer managers. We really skipped the whole FUD stage because our grandpa, he shot quality deer. He only shot what he thought was a shooter buck, and they weren't small deer. We talked a little bit on the podcast where it's like you go out to the shop and you can see his deer hanging up on the wall, and like there might be some smaller buck in there, but that those buck, with how old they were shot for meat.
Oh, 100%.
And then over the years, the buck have increased and like the sizes have gotten bigger, and he would never shoot anything smaller than the last deer that he shot. So his buck only ever increased in size, and then he'd shoot a lot of doe for meat.
That's a tough undertaking. Like never shooting one that's smaller than what you shot before.
But for his generation that grew up, and like Gramps grew up in a very poor home. I mean, like lower class, even for like the 1930s.
You're talking like the blaze orange buffalo plaid 12 gauge
maybe
at
not
the
even
base
maybe
of a
not
tree.
even that, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
him and his family were just dirt broke. They'd go into town and sell some potatoes so that they could have a little bit of money to eat that week. Or like for Christmas one year, he got an orange, and like, their house was just decrepit, like falling apart. And he remembers in the wintertime, the chimney came up through the center of the house. It was in him and his brother's room, and there was a crack in the window that would like blow in cold air and snow. So like snow would accumulate in the center of their room while they were sleeping. To stay warm, they just huddle around that chimney, right? So it's they grew up dirt poor.
Mm-hmm.
And so like hunting for them was like, hey, I went and got us a meal for a few weeks,
Which is a totally different aspect of like what we do. And that's
Correct.
and we've never experienced hunting from the perspective of like you need to kill to eat. And in a sense, that's what hunting is. That's the primal like conservation aspect of it. I don't think like if you were Think about it from this perspective. If someone from like medieval times or like Native American or like the old school people were to come back and sit in that chair and do a podcast with us, and we're talking about APRs and inches and like cell cams and chasing certain deer and things like that, what do you think?
Passing on deer?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, oh yeah, I didn't shoot that one because I'll shoot him in 3 years. They're like, well, what do you mean you're going to shoot him in 3 years?
Well, you need to eat now.
But you know what's interesting about Gramps is he was a deer manager and he managed the herd. He was a conservationist at heart, which bled down into, it skipped our dad's generation,
Right.
but it bled down into us. And it's unique because Grandpa grew up as a subsistence hunter and transferred into a QDM guy.
Have you noticed that the boomer generation / like older Gen X generation just wasn't that into hunting?
Yeah.
They were more into it for exactly what we're talking about. It was to go get a meal. Like when they were
Right.
talking about pheasant hunting back in the day, they were talking about how good it was to eat and that thing. They weren't talking about how fun it was. They were talking about like, yeah, of course, I'm sure that he had fun with his brothers, but I just remember Gramps talking about how good his grandma's, pheasant was,
Yeah.
that was in the crock pot. And I really think that was like,
And they did it to supplement.
that was it.
They did it to supplement food.
Right.
Because I think like in the 60s, and I mean, we weren't around. I'll have to do some research on it, but like the 60s and 70s, like there wasn't Meijer and Walmart and stuff like that. Like there were local grocery stores that you'd go get a week's worth of groceries at and whatnot. So killing those deer supplemented that. So that's what they knew as kids. So when they were older, it's like all of a sudden you've got Kroger and you've got Meijer and Publix and Walmart. All of a sudden you've got all these grocery stores. It's like, well, why do I need to go kill a deer for meat when I can go to the grocery store and buy ground beef?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, they did it just even if they did have something like that back then, I don't think the Reeder household would have been going to that. I think they would have been hunting because it was cheaper. I don't think they could have afforded to go get that kind of meat.
I think it was what they could afford. I mean, a box of shells was cheaper than, meat for however long.
Right. But that was just more what I was like making a point of. I've noticed that there's a decent chunk of like the boomers and older Gen X's that like my dad, well, I guess nobody in my family hunted. My grandpa didn't hunt. I don't know anything about his dad, but
it really did skip. And a lot of people that I've seen, it did skip that generation pretty hard. It wasn't unless you're like really out in the boonies. If you were like remotely in the suburbs, like just people weren't really interested in it. There's a big gap there.
Do you think social media has turbocharged it for, I guess, because you're in a totally different generation than we are. So Reed and I are in the millennial generation. You're the Gen.
I'm actually Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
You're like teetering on the edge. What are you, 96?
1997.
96 is the cutoff for millennial.
So I'm like the third month into Gen Z.
You're an honorary millennial.
Yeah, dang, you missed it.
So do you think it's social media that turbocharged everything for guys in your age category to actually get into this stuff?
I'd have to say partially yes. Especially being in my shoes. I've recently gotten into a lot of waterfowl hunting, which I mean I can talk about that later because that could go on for hours.
Oh,
but
we will.
A big waterfowl guy. I really enjoy it. And when I sit and like watch these guys that are killing these birds this way or that way, and it's like I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. Then it's like the next time I go out, I have a new hope for like maybe if I tried what they did on, this Instagram thing or this YouTube video, then maybe I'll get better results this way. And I don't know, it kind of keeps pushing me a little bit, if that makes sense, to just be better after seeing what these guys are capable of. Same thing with deer hunting, like these guys that put up these, even a 150s deer, especially in Michigan, a 150s, like that's still an amazing buck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like to see somebody put up one of those, like, it's just like kind of a push of like, yeah, I want to do that still. You know what I mean? It's just so hard in my area with deer, especially literally my 1 mile block. There's probably upwards of 15 people that hunt my 1 mile block. It's like,
do they kill everything that walks by?
Yeah. opening morning sounds like the opening of a war. It's really bad. So if you want any hope of killing a certain target deer, it's during bow season.
That's just the way it is. Well, outside of the crossbow hunters encroaching in on it, like bow hunting season is sacred for that reason too.
I love bow season. I absolutely adore it. And I mean, like I was talking about Cooper, that he only uses a bow all through season. And I probably would do the same thing if I mean, I like rifle hunting for management
correct
purposes.
Yep.
Way more sufficient.
Yeah, but if I was a trophy hunter like through and through and didn't touch the management side, which I think that's dumb, but if you don't touch the management side, or if I didn't touch the management side, I think I would be a bow hunter through and through, like all the way through rifle season. But around my area, it's like, if you're that dedicated, it's like really, really hard to get that target buck that you want unless you're in the tree stand like 6 out of 7 days a week. And it's just
a big commitment.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
That's the aspect of, like, we've talked about the aspect of management, but once gun season hits, so many people come out and it just goes haywire. But that is also where, knock on wood, at some point we completely eliminate the combo tag. That I really, really think will fix things.
Yeah, I could see that. Because
the way we've discussed it in the past is the DNR is giving you 2 opportunities to kill a buck. Like, easy. Like, how many people do you know that buy a combo tag that will shoot a doe and then
everybody?
A buck?
Well, I know everybody buys a combo tag.
Everybody buys a combo tag. And if the DNR comes to you and says, hey, Caleb, I'm going to give you 2 opportunities to kill a buck, or you can kill a buck and a doe, unless it's like the last week of season and you really need meat, how often are you going to try to fill that with 2 bucks?
Well, it's funny that you say this because I literally took Michael's tag the other day, and Michael killed 2 does the other day with his combo tag.
Good on Michael.
Yeah.
Well done.
Took him out the other day
with a combo tag?
Yeah, it's you can kill 2 antlerless, or you can kill 2 antlerless, or you can kill 2 antler with the +4 or whatever.
With the APR.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Because, like, in my mind, the big thing is I think the reason why so many rifle hunters kill small deer during gun season is because they have that combo tag. So they're like, I might as well kill this 6-point because then I've got the APR tag for when the big boy walks by. So if you completely eliminate that unrestricted buck tag and they just have to go pay $20 for their APR tag, and then you add a second unrestricted tag for like $60, it's going to eliminate a lot of people.
That would make sense to me. I wish they would only do +4 tags, but that's just me personally.
I think that is, because there's so many deer that fall into that 3 on one side category that could be still really good deer. If you, on the off chance that you have like a massive 6-point, it's like, it'd be a bummer to lose out on something like that. I don't think the +4 is necessarily the answer, but you give a monetary barrier to entry there, saying like, hey, doe tag, $10, buck tag, APR buck tag, $20, non-restricted, you can shoot any buck you want, $50. Just put that much more of a price on it, because it's like you're paying the price on the back end, offering a cheap, and like, yeah, make it substantial. What?
I'm just thinking, like, no offense to the FUDs, but the FUDs going into Walmart aren't
to the FUDs.
The FUDs aren't going to go to Walmart and they pay $50 for an unrestricted tag to shoot a smaller buck.
Reed's a FUD. We gotta
Oh, no shade thrown in the chill dude lounge.
Kind here, man. Like, come on.
He doesn't even know what to say.
I don't know what to say. It's such an asinine comment. Anyways. But to make a very stark difference between an APR buck tag and an unrestricted buck tag, I would not mind paying however much, like $50 for an unrestricted buck tag, if I know that I have a management buck on my property that has to come out. I am willing to pay the price extra to manage my herd, to make sure that deer is taken care of. And like the people that are like, there might be some people that are upset about that, but the people that get it are not going to be mad about that price being that high, and they'll
Right.
buy it if they need it.
Right.
I totally agree with that, 100%.
So
I really do.
Think about it from this perspective. If you are just like a regular Joe Schmo who's got a crossbow, it's bow season, and you have a combo tag, you don't have a combo tag. If all you buy is you buy your doe tag or you buy an APR tag, when that small 8-point walks in front of you, what's the likeliness you're going to shoot that small 8-point early season if you only have that one buck tag?
Yeah, I think that would really I think that would help matters. I think that would make people think twice instead of thinking, oh, I could shoot this one now and then, save that one, pocket it and be like, I'm just doe hunting from now on. But if that monster walks in front of me, I mean, I've done it, so I can't argue.
Everybody's done it.
Yeah,
Every single person. Like
it's the thought process.
I go into deer season saying, okay, I have a combo tag and I can shoot 2 bucks. Now, both of my bucks are going to be mature older bucks.
Right.
And if the one that I'm after for my second buck tag doesn't show up, I'm not going to fill it. I might shoot a doe with it because I already have it at the end of the season and late antlerless season. But I'd rather eat that tag than shoot a small buck.
I do that too.
Yeah, and I'm not against having 2 buck tags. I think we have enough deer in Michigan to sustain 2 buck tags. And like you were saying this year, down on your property, you've seen more buck than you have in your entire life.
Oh my gosh, the amount of year and a half to
Yes.
2, like dozens of year and a half to 2.5-year-old bucks.
Really?
And
For every 1 or 2 mature bucks that I have per year.
And what I've found up on the properties that I've been hunting is I'm seeing probably 2 buck for every 1 doe that I'm watching. And It's just like, yeah, and it's like there's plenty of buck. It's not an issue of like, well, we don't have enough deer. It's like we have so many deer. I don't mind having 2 buck tags. I don't mind having unlimited doe tags. We need to take care of the deer problem.
There is a limit on doe tags, though. Did you know that?
What's it at? Is it 10?
What is it?
10.
10.
Okay.
I was gonna say I just went and bought 2 more the other day.
Yep. So you max out at 10, unless you actually like file with the DNR to
it's
get
funny
management.
because I filled my 2 combo tags with does, and then I now have 2 more doe tags, and like I'm on a doe mission this year.
So you're not going to shoot any bucks this year?
Probably not.
Hey, good on you. That's because we have a doe problem. I don't see the doe problem, but we do have a doe problem.
Well, at my place, I'm seeing 5 to 6 does per 1 buck.
we need to
That's
we
how
need to
bad it
recruit
is.
you because
And-
we've got families that want meat.
There you go.
Yeah, and I remember hunting out on the farm, and it was like that. You would see so many doe.
I'll probably see 35, 40 does in one night, one set.
Jeez.
Yep.
One set.
The place is crawling.
And maybe like 2 or 3 bucks, couple spikes, maybe. And I'll see. I mean, when I say does, I'm saying like does and fawns. So there's probably button bucks in there. and
Antlerless,
stuff.
yeah,
But
but
I'm saying
still,
antlerless
yeah.
deer. But most of them they're like nice, mature does or yearling does or something like that are just like, I mean, I see, I on a night set, I will easily see 30 to 35 does. And then have 2 spikes chasing them in a small 8, small 6.
Yeah.
But the amount of big mature deer either are not there in that area, or they're few and far between, like I was saying, or they're like deathly smart because that place is so, not my place personally, but the neighborhood around in that square mile is so pressured
Yeah.
that they're either like not as many of them, which I also think, but on the other hand, the ones that are there, I think are just like crazy smart. I mean, how do you think they got that big with, 15 plus people hunting in my square mile block?
To the west of you, there is some dense stuff through there. And I think a lot of your bedding is happening over on the other side of the creek.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and like I know you guys get some bedding down on the south farm, but for the most part, most of the big mature deer are going to be hanging over on that west side, and you guys are a pass through. Like,
oh, I totally agree.
yeah, and that's the tough part is like you're going to have to make, a real sanctuary bedding area that they can grow accustomed to over the years. But it's like you also have to have pressure on the other side to kick them your way.
Right.
It'd be a tough scenario. It's like you'd have to really kind of plan that one out for 2 or 3 years.
That's the other thing is like, even though it's not super, I figured this out this year, especially, is even though my property that I hunt is not like super thick bedding area and stuff like that, it's it's all about pressures. And I'm realizing this year that our woods right there and then the neighboring woods that's connected to ours, Billy Palmer's woods right there, is actually crawling with deer this year because I've only been in the tree stand like 3 times.
You got to make a vacuum
4 times. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because the western half of our mile has been hunted during, I wasn't here for opener of gun. I hunted 2, maybe 3 times during bow season, if that, because I was so busy with cattle. That is like that western half of our mile block was so pressured that the last couple sets that I've had in our woods have been like the best sets of my entire like life in our woods before. Because I've genuinely not touched our woods, but possibly 6 times, and Dad sat out there once.
So they've gotten super comfortable with lack of activity out there.
Pretty much. Like I have not seen what I would call a booner deer in our woods in a long time. And my second set during bow season, I probably saw I'm going to say he was 155 plus. Yeah, he was about a 10 point, I'm pretty sure. But I was on my walk out of the woods. I was walking.
That's when you always see him.
Yep, I was walking out of the woods.
Always see him.
Walking out of the woods during bow season. He's standing there, staring right at me at about 200 yards away. Just standing there looking at me. That's
You're
probably
thinking about cranking up the pound.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just thinking about sending a Hail Mary shot, but anyways, it's just like one of those things, and that's the other thing is like because now my combo tags are filled. It's like I don't got a shot at him, but I've been having Dad go back there and set for him because I was like I told him I was like this is a massive deer and somebody needs to kill him. And
you know how you tell the difference between
it's not the neighbor. You know
how you tell the difference between a waterfowl guy and a whitetail guy.
How so?
You go out and sit. He goes out and sets.
Oh, yes, yes.
I
didn't notice that. That's true.
Waterfowl guys, they have sets. Yep. Deer hunters have sits.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's
well, that's
true.
the same thing with coyote hunting. You go coyote hunting, you make a set. You don't go sit. You make a set.
100%.
So if you're whitetail hunting and you bring a decoy out with you, is that a set?
I would have to say so. Yeah. I would say so. I mean, if you're deer hunting and you call, I would say that's a set.
I've thought really heavily about bringing like here or down south at the property during the rut is starting to hunt with a buck decoy.
I've never tried that.
I've heard it's very high success rate.
I've been seeing some crazy videos. Who's the guy that's got is it Dave Smith? Dave Smith decoys.
Yeah.
Has some wild videos of buck attacking his decoy.
Really?
I was just coming in hot on him.
See, I could never imagine that working that great, but I've also heard like really good things. Like my buddy Nick, he same thing. He had this buck that was on the neighbor's property, open cornfield. He was allowed to hunt. That was the only thing he was allowed to hunt. Had permission, like on this open cornfield. Nice 130s. 8 point. I can't remember 8, 9 point or something. Like a nice deer, like decent sized deer. And Nick only rifle hunts, so I mean, like
I believe
he's that guy, right? Yeah, he's that guy. He's part of the Orange Army, but no shame on that. Yeah, right.
Nick
but anyways,
Sitka.
Yeah, Mr. Sitka himself. We call him. We now call him the Great White.
Wait, how can you hunt whitetail with a rifle and wear Sitka?
I just don't know. His Sitka is waterfowl related.
That checks out.
Yeah. Because he's a big waterfowl guy.
Okay.
But anyways, he had permission on like 30 acres of this cornfield, open cornfield right behind this guy's house. And he had this nice buck on the neighboring property. And he was like, I'm going to go sit out there with a decoy on opening morning. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm thinking, no way. You know what I mean? Nick literally sits on the back edge of this guy's property in his wood pile, sets that decoy out there. And he said within, I'm going to say 2 hours that morning, he had that buck right up on that decoy and he shot him at like 50 yards. I was like, no way.
The amount of scenarios I've had in like the last 3 years with bow hunting where I've had my target buck hung up at like 100 yards where you rattle them in or you call them in and they get to that 100-yard mark and they know exactly where that sound is coming from and they're standing there and looking and they're trying to find the deer that made that noise, whether it's a snort wheeze, a grunt, or whatever it may be. They're looking and you can see them and they do circles and they stop and they look and they can't see anything. So they buzz off and they keep going.
Well, that's another thing is like, I feel like as much as they're looking, they're also smelling. You know what I mean? So
they'll get
it's
downwind.
I mean, it's like coyote hunting. You know what I mean? Coyotes, they all every time go downwind of the call every time.
Yep.
To smell, see if it's actually real. And I mean, you get winded, you're done. I'm thinking if they can't, deer are a little bit, they're not as smart as coyotes, but they're still pretty smart. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you'll see the old doe walking straight into the wind with their nose up.
Yeah, but I'm like saying, like, if you have a decoy out there, like, this is where I could see that totally working. Is like you rattle, you like you said, snort, wheeze, grunt, whatever. It's like those big old mature bucks or those bigger, smarter bucks that have been around for a while. It's like,
if there's nothing there, they're not going to come in.
I
but
feel
if
like
they see something, they're like, oh, here
if
we
there's
go.
nothing there, they're probably going to want to try to wind it to double make sure. But if there's something there for them to look at, they might not even go for a wind check. They'll just I mean, I could see them coming right in. I could see that not being an issue.
I've seen guys soak those buck decoys with like buck urine, just like Scott's lawn sprayers, just like soak them.
Ice, have you ever used a snort wheeze?
I have, and I have not had good luck.
Really? Okay, so
what time of year?
There you go. Early rut?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
You got to be deep in the rut.
Like
okay. I'm talking like their neck's got to be.
Well, I'm saying like it was last year. I was after a 10 point, and it was probably late. I want to say it was late October, like upper 20s of October, and still not like. Yeah, it's
got to be like Halloween to November 9th. Like when they're chasing, like never blind snort wheeze, because I've seen it'll scare a lot of young bucks away. But if you've got the Mac Daddy, the mature deer, he's the alpha of that area, and he's just passing through, and you rattle at him, and he got his attention a little bit, but he's still walking. You grunt at him 2 or 3 times, and you have his attention, but he's still walking. Then you hit him with that snort wheeze, and it's like, let's go, buddy. I want to fight you.
That makes sense.
Then they wheel around. But like, I don't think I've ever had a scenario where I straight up snort wheeze out of the gate. Like I throw everything at him.
No, I did this year one time. I had a buck on a chunk of property that I was hunting, and he was walking away from me. And as he was walking, I just got into the stand, climbed up. And when I got up into my stand, my bow was still hanging below me, and I see him walking away from me. I'm like, oh, frick. I like, while he's walking away, I quietly reel my bow up, and he's like, gone. Okay.
Yeah.
I see where he goes. He's not hauling out of there, but I see where he goes into the woods, and like, I didn't have anything set up yet. I finally got my arrow knocked and didn't even use my call. I just went underneath my nose, and I watched that thing beeline right into my tree.
Really?
Oh, he came in just like ready to rip.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is when you use it properly during the right time of year. There's plenty of times in the early season where it's like, you had a deer walking away from you. I didn't dare. I was like, I wouldn't do it because you're not ready to fight yet.
Yeah.
The younger bucks are still scrubbing around and going at each other, but like the older bucks, they're just chilling out. You hit them at the right time of year with a snort wheeze, man, dude. It is like you basically just throw a big grapple hook out on them and just pull them right in.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like being in a packed bar and you got one guy on the other side of the bar and he's looking over at him.
Buddy, F you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
And he just plows on through. It's nuts. Like if you get a good mature deer, they will come ripping. They'll have they'll start rubbing, they'll make scrapes, like just like no overhead branches, just the middle of wherever they're at. They'll just stop, they'll just paw the dirt, they'll take a piss on their back legs, and then they'll come hauling in. All right. We need to wrangle this back in because this is a spotlight.
My bad.
This is a spotlight series, so we have been. This is good, but we want to know about you. So, what's your earliest hunting memory?
I mean, there's a couple. I like when it comes to just any species or like
any species. Like there's that early hunting memory where it sticks with you.
I think probably the earliest one for me would probably be my turkey hunt with Gramps. That was probably my earliest. I know there is times I was whitetail hunting with him before that because I remember those early mornings and how cold it was and how like miserable I was. But
rolling out of bed at the butt crack of dawn.
Looking back now though, I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I did that. Just because I'm where I am now and I've developed that love for it. But turkey hunting was probably the earliest one where I can like remember the whole hunt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just remember it was early spring turkey season. We had one of those pop-up blinds, sat down at the edge of the woods, had a turkey decoy out there and everything. Just old turkey hunting, you know, just the way, nothing special about it. And it's funny because I say nothing special about it, but I still to this day cannot call a turkey in to save my life.
Oh gosh,
I cannot. But
and
anyways,
you know what's funny?
Wait, back to back. Wait, let me finish this real quick.
I'm listening.
Okay, but anyways, I just remember sitting there. It's not going to take long, but I just remember sitting there that morning and him calling a couple of times, and we had a tom come in right behind us, and he forgot to open up that window in the back there. And I just remember it was like that mesh stuff that you can see through, but you can't shoot through it, you know, but you can still see through it. And so anyways, and it was Velcroed at the top. And I remember him looking back, and the tom did not want to come around that blind. And he was like, I'm going to shoot it. And I was like, okay.
Some of those blind companies, like, they preached like new tech mesh, you can shoot through it, and then every once in a while you'd be in your buddy's blind and there'd be like broadhead holes in it.
Oh, I don't know, but I just remember him absolutely destroying that with a shotgun. I just remember him turning around. The turkey died. You know, I still have the turkey in my room with the beard and everything. It wasn't a huge tom, but it was my first memory of like, you know, that. And I just remember coming home and telling my parents that Gramps shot through his blind.
I remember sitting in the blind and seeing a hole through the mesh one day, and I'm like, Gramps, you got a mouse problem? He goes, no, I shot through the blind.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I just thought it was the funniest thing ever, like you were saying. And then I shot my first buck through the mesh in my blind. There's a big hole in my blind still. Yeah, because I'm like, well, that's what you do. And they're Velcro, they're replaceable. And nowadays they got them all on like little slidey systems, so it's not.
That is true.
You don't have to replace it.
He didn't want to scare the turkey away. That's the only reason he didn't open it. It wasn't about the replaceability of it. It was just funny that he was like, he didn't want to scare it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to shoot through my blind. I was like, okay.
All right, so here's the next question. So you at this point, we've talked about you hunt so many different species.
Yeah.
If you could only hunt one species going forward, what would it be?
I'd have to go birds or coyotes all day long.
You got to narrow it down from birds, though. See, that's the thing. There's so many different species of birds you can hunt.
He goes, I like to hunt.
I know, but
it's
all the same thing. Shut up. I'm a big coot hunter.
big
out
coot
there
guy.
shooting coots. Coots and snipe, man, that's where it's at.
So that's it.
Yeah. I shoot. From birds, I'm not talking. I mean, like when I say birds, I mean waterfowl.
Yep.
So I mean, I would throw that all in the same category because you could sit and
I don't know though, because you hunt goose from a field, you hunt ducks from.
But that's the thing though. You can hunt ducks from a field set, and you can hunt geese on the water. So it's like it's all versatile.
Okay,
when it comes to like,
I would say you could group waterfowl in all together.
All right, I'll give you that.
I would say that your divers, like your diver ducks and stuff, that's a different category of hunting because you hunt them differently.
Okay, totally
differently. You don't hunt them in the swamps. You don't hunt them in the fields. Diver ducks are like, you know, out on the bay in a boat. Out in the middle of the lake, and they come flying down, and it's just totally different, like totally different.
What has drawn you towards waterfowl versus coyote versus big game?
I don't get me wrong, I really like big game hunting. But I would say it's probably the social aspect of like seeing all these guys get out, and then also introducing people that don't hunt to hunting stuff, because all they ever had was that experience of, you know, sitting in the blind cold for hours, not seeing a big buck, this, that, and the other thing. And then when you get them out on these waterfowl hunts, it just gets them back into hunting because, well, I mean, most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, at least the way we hunt them with all the scouting that we do, like we do very, very well on our waterfowl hunts. And so to take somebody on a known good waterfowl hunt before you even go, take somebody out on that afterwards, like we've taken farmers out that are like, yeah, you know, it's just hunting, whatever. And then we've taken them out before on their fields that we got permission on. And they're like, holy smokes, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, this is so much fun. When are you guys going out again? Like, it actually draws people to the hunting community that never had a great experience hunting in the past. And I just think the social aspect and like the introduction to getting people back into the outdoors, getting people back into that and just reeling them in through like something they actually genuinely enjoy is just, I think that's the coolest part.
So the barrier to entry is easier too, because
it is much easier. Because as long as you got buddies, the to get serious into it, I would say, is tougher because you got to spend thousands on deeks, and you got to have the trailer set them to get them all, like the trailer set them to get them out there. You have to have, you know, the land and the know-how, and like these guys are out scouting a ton, you know. And the issue is like I got friends in this area that have been big waterfowl guys for years, and just recently they're like, dude, I'm losing all my grounds because there's people getting smart that are doing guide services where they're going out and leasing up ground and then having people like pay them to go out and guide.
Wow.
And they're buying up like a bunch of leases and like locking up thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. Well, the problem is like, you know, to the Joe Schmo that, you know, just can't get that or doesn't have the time to go scout, it gets really tough. But if you get locked in with guys like Caleb and his buddies like Nick and Wyatt or Ronnie and Peyton, you can get an in. And it's not hard to go out and sit, and you got all the stuff right there for you. Set.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go out in a set, and it's like, you know, I'll go out with them every once in a while. It's like, well, dude, I don't have anything. I got a shotgun. And they're like, perfect, bring it.
That's I think that's the coolest part about it, though, is it's like, when it comes to introduction, though, I would say it's a really big bummer on the fact that if you don't have the ins on like land, it's like getting harder to get property to do this because everybody has it all leased out. But it's the same thing with deer hunting. I mean, deer hunters got so much stuff leased down anymore. Like, especially, I mean, at least in my area, you go ask and it's like, nah, I already have somebody renting that for, you know, $4,500 for the year. I'm like, holy smokes!
That's
you know
where
what I
like
mean?
the urban.
Like,
that's where the urban aspect really comes in.
Yeah,
Having
yeah,
those
I would-
1,
yeah.
2, 3 acre parcels, like all around here. Like if you knocked 100 doors around here, you could probably get permission at least 20 of them.
really.
Probably,
I mean, when
15.
you're out there in that farm ground, though, it's like
It's different.
Yeah, it's not even $4,500 for the year. It's like $2,500 an acre. So it's like you get these wood lots that these farmers have nothing to do with, and they're just leasing that stuff out. You know what I mean? It's money in their pocket.
Dang, I'll lease it to you here for $2,500.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, like, think about it. If it's okay, that's 10 acres at $2,500.
That's crazy,
right? I mean, I've genuinely went up to farmers and asked, like, so what do you, how much is this, or what are you leasing it for? Or I've asked and they're like, yeah, for blank amount of dollars per acre. And I'm thinking to myself, holy smokes.
For waterfowl or for whitetail? Like
waterfowl is different. We actually get way more free permissions than anything. Like, honestly,
that's interesting because
there's a lot more.
I think that's because there's still a lot more emphasis on the aspect of meat. Everybody deer hunts in the state. That's really interesting to hear because, like, for me, part of the reason I've never got into waterfowl hunting is the aspect of I feel like the return on investment is just not like I don't really enjoy duck as much. Like, duck is good.
See, I would have to agree with that, but the only way to eat duck or goose is honestly jerky. The only way.
I've never had goose jerky.
The only way to eat is duck or goose is jerky.
We get tons of ducks out here.
Jerky is amazing.
I should try to kill a duck out here. We can't use shotguns because suburban.
Dude, we should bring Cooper out here and shoot him with our bows.
Here's the thing: the ducks stay on the surface of the water and they don't fly. So if we can set up a blind like right on the edge of the water, they float. So it's enough to where you could get an arrow in one.
Okay, we could totally bow hunt duck from a blind.
We should totally do that. I bet you there's quite a few bands in this area too.
That'd be hysterical. Yeah.
We usually have every day. We usually have 2 or 3 mallards and a couple. What are the female
drakes and hens?
Yeah.
They're both
mallards
mallards.
is the species.
Yeah. So we have
have
probably 8 or 9 ducks total every day out here just floating in the pond.
Here's what I will say about waterfowl hunting is it's the social aspect. You get a lot more smiles per mile when you're
100%.
waterfowl hunting.
I agree. The camaraderie aspect of duck hunting that I've seen is night and day.
Some of the best like comedy sessions I've ever had has been in the duck blind.
Oh,
or the goose
100%.
blind.
When you're laying
110%.
out on the field and you got, 4 guys lined up next to each other, and the whole time you're just razzing each other, you're laughing,
Just
you're
being
looking
dudes.
around. Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a transportable bunker. Like, we get that vibe down here where we just sit here and open up, start talking, laughing,
Oh, yeah.
like bull crapping each other, chirping nonstop. You get that out in the middle of a cornfield with shotguns, it's hysterical.
You ready to hear my comparison?
Yeah, hit me.
It's like ultimate frisbee versus golf,
I know
or
so
hockey,
little.
or hockey versus golf. Like it's like
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
like
I
water-
think I'd go with that.
like waterfowl hunting is like, it's like hockey. You've got a team, everybody's tight, it's fun,
Yep.
it's a good time. You're working together to accomplish the same goal of killing ducks. Whereas whitetail, especially specifically bow hunting, it's like golf. It is not a team sport. It's you're working on a farm. You're planting the food plots. You're chasing deer, and everyone is out on their own.
yeah, I would agree.
You're
with that.
not during bow season, it's rare to see 2 guys sitting in a ladder stand all buddied up. But as soon as gun season opens,
Yeah.
you got guys in ladder
You
stands,
got
buddy.
guys in blinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the other thing about waterfowl hunting that I think is a riot is the few times that I've gone out and sat with you guys, when those geese start coming in and
my gosh.
everybody just flaps down and they hunker in. You got one guy watching and he's sitting there calling shots and he's like, they're coming in. They're circling another time. All right, everybody, like, get ready. They're locking up. Like, it's go time. And you're laying there with your shotgun. You can't see anything. Or maybe you just see a little bit through that mesh coming down and your heart's just sitting there racing.
Oh my gosh.
And like you're just getting
the
amped
best
up, and it's like, and then there's that like fateful moment. Kill them, boys! Everything flies open, and it's just
it's like almost like the pregame of a football game.
yes,
It's
and it's
like-
just chaos when
it's
all of a sudden the
so-
guns start going off, and like it's hilarious, and birds are dropping out of the sky.
And then it's
And-
the biggest celebration afterwards. Like you're all just pumped. You're giving each other high fives, and everybody's just like genuinely excited. Like
So
really
kind of
excited.
like a Vietnam, like taking down an air raid with
It really,
anti-air.
Yeah.
it's so yeah.
So here's the thing about it though, is like you get that adrenaline rush and that dump of serotonin. You go out, you pick up your birds, you slide them in your bind, and then you sit there and you start calling again. And you do that like 4 and 5 times in the morning. So you like, it's not you're not getting buck fever, like that intense of a hit, but it's like, it's like a really good laced weed versus like cocaine.
You're comparing buck to
Buck
cocaine.
fever is cocaine for sure. Like you're just wired, dude. It is like nothing instantaneous, no other. But like I would assume, I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. This is just what I've been told.
Not condoning recreational drug use at all.
No,
Right.
recreational drug use, bad. But like what I have been told is like, yeah, you get like a good weed and it's just like, this is great. And you just get that like fun hit where all of a sudden everything comes in. It's chaos. It's hilarious. Everything's dropping out of the sky.
You want to eat Doritos.
Yeah, you're sitting there with snacks in the blind. You can be loud. It's a
You're
great.
sitting there with like the most camaraderie you've ever
Yeah.
experienced in your entire
I could
life.
see why that would be enjoyable.
And then all of a sudden somebody calls birds, and it's literally like somebody turned on a light switch and everybody's got their game face on.
Oh
It's-
yeah, everybody just zones
yeah.
in.
It's like, yep, it's crazy. It's honest to God, when they're coming down and they're cupped up, coming down on the decoys, it's one of the most magical moments I've ever experienced.
I'd love to film that.
If we can get an extra
Sometime.
blind on Thursday morning, you should come out and film
you want to go?
Thursday
See,
morning.
okay, so here's the big disconnect for me. This is going to
You're
sound
gonna want to
like
go deer hunting, aren't you?
No, this
Yeah,
is the. I do have a big one out here that I've been chasing like every day. The big thing is, I hate mornings. Like I know
See, I do too.
with waterfowl hunting, it's like 4 a.m. mornings.
But I do
and it's
too.
brutal. Like I can barely drag myself out of bed to get up 30 minutes before daylight for deer hunting.
For
the
me, though,
content.
it's crazy though, because I'm the same way. I absolutely hate mornings, but the drive behind it of how much fun I know I'm going to have and how much I enjoy setting up the decoys. Like there's a strategy behind it too on to get the birds where you want them and to brush your blinds. I mean, you're only as strong as your weakest link there. So it's like to get the blinds brushed the right way and to get the birds set up the right way. The
It's a chess
decoys,
game.
yeah, it really is. It really is. And to get the decoys set up and to sit back while the sun's coming up and see like how good your spread looks and stand there and be like, all right, it's game on. You know what I mean? It's game day, boys. It's like that's honestly deep down inside, that's rewarding. You know what I mean? Even if we don't kill birds, that to me is rewarding. That I played my part, and if birds don't show up, they don't show up. You know what I mean? And to me, after doing it a couple of times and realizing how much fun that I have, it's a lot easier for me to get out of bed in the morning.
Oh yeah, I think from the
deer hunting, I can lay there and roll around and be like, God, I don't want to get up because I know I'm going to sit there and be cold. You know what I mean?
The another analogy of it is, think about it like going to the gym. If it's just you and you have to have that self-discipline to get up and go to the gym in the morning to work out, it's going to be hard to get up when that alarm goes off. But if you know that 6 of your buddies are waiting at the gym for you, and if you don't show up, they're going to like rip you a new one, it's a lot easier to get up.
So this Thursday, when 4 of us are saying, Caleb, where the heck are you?
Yeah.
We want to film these birds getting
I'm going to
blasted
be cozied up in bed, rolling out 15 minutes before shooting light, and then plopping down on the couch with my cup of coffee and chasing a 140s class.
Have you ever even experienced?
No. Mm-mm.
Right.
No.
I think you need to.
No. I'm a big advocate of like, don't knock it till you try it. I was that way with sushi for years. Like I hated the idea of sushi, and then I tried it. I also hated the idea of like fried eggs on top of like burgers with a runny yolk. That just irked me, and I tried it, and it's not bad. So,
Reed, you can genuinely say that before you tried it. It's like,
you've
had a different outlook on it ever since you went, right?
I always thought it was entertaining, and I always wanted to do it beforehand.
Right.
After I did it, it was like more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
For me, I would enjoy the aspect of documenting it. Like I've always loved photography and videography. I would enjoy taking photos more than I would shooting birds.
See, that would be the best part. That would be the best part, though, is because I think with you enjoying that, I think waterfowl cupped up coming in all of that experience is probably one of the most like photo ready things, or one of the most video ready things that like in the hunting world that you can do. I mean, the birds are beautiful, you know what I mean, coming in. I mean they're geese, but you know. Hey,
I got Sitka.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, you'll fit right in.
All right, but let's go to the next question. So that was a long-winded version.
He's avoiding the early morning on Thursday, I can tell.
No, So I've got my weather app pulled up here, and I see that it's going to be
screwing again.
It's going to be a low of 29
Dirty
on
bears.
Thursday morning.
Ooh, I like it.
That's where the Fanatic setup comes in easy and nice and moving, nice and warm. Okay, so that was the long-winded version of if he had to choose one kind of game to stick with. We now know what it would be.
I think it'd be waterfowl. I really do. I mean, I find myself picking waterfowl over deer hunting in the morning quite often.
What's your favorite wild game recipe to cook? Because like that, at the end of the day, like when we're doing this stuff outside of coyote and predator hunting, like that's the goal. That is the purpose.
Oh,
beaver what? Beaver backstraps.
We ate beaver backstraps one time. Phenomenal.
Yeah, better than venison.
How'd you cook them?
Grilled them,
just on
like
a grill.
steak.
No way.
Yeah, we didn't do anything special.
Probably one of the best cuts I've ever had.
Gamey?
No, sweet.
No,
it was the closest thing to elk I've ever had.
Did you trap them?
Yep.
Yeah, we trapped that one. Yeah, we did.
That was a legal trap.
It was a legal trap.
Yep. It was.
He had a permit.
I had a permit for it, and we trapped it. I still have that hide.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. Did you try the tail? I've heard beaver tail.
No, but remember we skinned it out?
We skinned the tail. We were going to try to make a wallet out of it or something.
It's cool. It really is.
No way.
The other one that's really
cool.
good is I had a buddy bring up a crane from Texas, and that was really
Sandhill?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard those are crazy. Okay, but outside of like exotic, like interesting, but like if you had to cook something regularly, what's your favorite wild game recipe? Because beaver is rare. Like you're not going to get that all.
Is crane rare?
Well,
like
yeah,
Michigan,
you can't. Yeah, you can't shoot. It's illegal in
not
Michigan.
Here, yeah, but I'm talking about like if you had the option or whatever.
So only wild
Michigan,
game that you have the
Michigan
option to in Michigan. Yeah,
not imported meat. I
correct.
Got you. I would say venison backstraps, but
how would you cook them?
I mean, I'd just grill them. I mean that
any seasoning?
Yeah, I mean like regular steak seasoning, marinated for a couple days beforehand.
What do you put in your marinade?
I can't remember. My mom found something on something online that she does. It's really good. It's like a balsamic mix of some sort, like almost like it's like a balsamic amino of some sort. It's
I have heard
good.
that the amino it's like it's in a bottle. It's called amino something, but
liquid aminos.
Liquid aminos.
Yeah.
It breaks down a lot of that tissue.
Well, that's what it is, but it's like a balsamic version of it.
Balsamic aminos.
like,
I'll have to look that up.
Kind of like
that's cool.
a vinegar of sorts.
The vinegar, the acid breaks down the tissue. That's why some people put like lime juice in their marinades as well for venison. But honestly, you really don't. I feel like you don't even need that for backstrap.
Yeah.
More for like the steaks and the roasts. Those are a little.
Well, the
tougher.
roasts, we do the roast, but we just make jerky out of the roasts.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's actually some of the best jerky I've ever had. Marinate it for like 4 days.
Smoke
heavy marinade.
Smoke it or dehydrate
No,
it?
dehydrate it.
Okay.
Works great.
I
I mean,
love it.
smoking's probably the next best thing, but it just takes more time.
Well, I mean, realistically, Caleb, you've got a lot of back experience in hunting, and you killed a bear.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go down that rabbit trail. Like, you know, that was one of the main reasons that we wanted to have you on the podcast, is to tell your bear story. Now, also, can I comment on the fact that you show up looking like a CO right now in the green pants? What the heck? You came walking down to the bunker. I about bolted out of here.
My bad.
With
What, are you doing something wrong?
Probably. I feel like I'm a pretty ethical hunter. I try to keep all my ducks in a row. But you know, like when you see a cop and you start thinking about, like, hey, well, no, do I have my phone? Is my
everything
seatbelt on?
in the PodBunker is legal.
Did Reed tell you I got stopped by a CO the other day in the goose field?
No way.
Mhm.
You don't hear about that kind of like I
got called in. I wasn't doing anything wrong, but some guy called me in, and I'm guessing I don't know why.
Somebody was pissed because you were wearing Sitka.
I'm wondering if they were like just jealous that I was hunting the field I was, because it's like public property, and maybe they were planning on hunting it, and I hunted it a day before they did.
So what tell me about that.
I don't know. He pulled up, super cool guy. I mean, he was in his 50s, 60s. I don't think he told us his name, but I mean, it was me, Cooper, and Max, and we were just out there hunting geese, and we had 4 birds on the ground, and he asked us if we had plugs in our shotguns, and we do. I mean, we were doing everything legal, and he said, yeah, we got a call that you were shooting after light, and I was like, nope. We literally watched the guy sit there for 20 minutes and like watch us while we were standing in our blinds, like just watching geese. Like our guns were unloaded, sitting on our blinds and everything, and guy whipped in, took a thing of our license plates, and about 30 minutes later, CO shows up, and we're like, And I mean, we had nothing to hide. I mean, we were doing everything right, so it was just like, well, we just got to deal with it, you know. But
What do you mean by
super
plugs?
nice guy.
Plugs in your guns.
And in shotguns, when it comes to waterfowl, you're supposed to legally only have 3 shots.
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
So there's
yes.
a plug in the tube or in the shot shell tube.
So it's the guy watching from his truck with binoculars on. They don't have plugs.
He just wanted 4.
No. He literally said we were shooting after light because there's shooting time. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
right.
we knew what shooting light was, and we weren't. We were just literally standing there watching geese. We were in the field after shooting time, but not shooting. So I really don't know what the guy's deal was. Those are the people that like really. I mean, that just kind of put a damper on hunting. You know what I mean? It's
We
kind of
call
a bummer,
those people fuds.
fuds. I read you're not a fud. Never mind.
Thank you.
Never mind.
Thank you.
But yeah,
that
it
one
was
really
just.
hurts.
I mean, he was a super cool guy. Came out, complimented my decoys. He's like, "These are nice decoys." I thought it was a real goose. I was like, "Thanks, man." That was it. I mean, he was a super nice guy. Checked our licenses. We were all good, and went back to his truck. He's like, "You guys have a nice night." And
COs can either be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on what you're doing.
yeah, I was really glad that he was cool.
I would love to have a conservation officer on the podcast.
I would too. Well, yeah, I would too.
Just to tell stories and just be like, hey, what's your take on things? What do you want to know? Like, what do you want us as hunters to know? We feel like we're doing everything right for the most part, but it's like, what are the things that we're missing? Or what are the things that we're missing?
Like what can make your interactions with hunters better?
How can we partner with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was the coolest part about just talking to him is he sat there and had a genuine conversation with us 3 kids. I mean, I'm 18, Max is 16, Cooper's 16, and had a genuine conversation with us 3 kids, just like we were adults, and we're just like, he was not after us. He was not trying to find something. He was just making sure that we were legal. And
you are an adult.
Yeah, I know.
If you went and robbed a bank right now, the headline would read, Mason man robs bank.
Yeah, you're right. But anyways,
Welcome to manhood.
yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was cool that he sat there and like had like a get to know you kind of moment where it was just
I like that.
It wasn't like he was after something. He was just genuinely there to do his job, make sure we were all good, and like, you know, ask us how we were doing. Like, and that, I mean, he was a nice guy. You know,
And
what I
the
mean?
reality is that's most law enforcement.
Right.
You know, he walks out there and he sees 3 kids in a field hunting geese. Once he figures out that everything's above grade, to him, he's just like, this is great. The next generation is in what I'm being funded for, you know?
Yeah.
And so he's going to want to sit down and say, like, hey, like, you know, make sure you're all legal, everything's good. Hey, let me use this opportunity to teach you and like catch up to see who you guys are.
Right.
And the reality is like next time you had a run-in with him, it'd probably be just as good. And he might have a little bit of leniency with you because he knew like, oh, you know, like these kids are upright. They're like in good standings. Okay, they might have missed this. Correction, just keep this in mind next time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know, I just thought it was super cool. Like
That
the
is-
way he handled it was just super cool. You
That
know
is
what I mean?
cool. You ever watch the show Wardens on?
no, I never did.
So I've got my Outdoor TV subscription. The Wardens is on there, and
I've seen clips and I feel like they're always out to get somebody.
well, because that's like the premise of the show is to.
Bust people.
It's crazy. Like they'll set up like fully bodied taxidermied Boone and Crockett
those
bucks
decoys,
like
yeah.
off of the road, and they'll sit up at a perch and they'll wait during gun season. They'll wait for people to come along in their truck and like hop out
It's
and
a
go.
FUD magnet, dude.
Yeah, no,
I've seen that episode before. Or those
with
episodes.
the muley up on the hill,
and the head even turns and everything.
Yeah,
on
they
it.
like-
They
They
put
have
him
a
up on a
remote.
hill, like silhouetted,
yeah.
and people are taking shots at that.
Oh yeah.
Holy
I
Here's
saw
the
one
thing.
in the woods though, and the head like turned on it and everything.
This
They had
must have been a
remote.
different one, but it was
cool.
in like Montana. But in Montana, legally, if there's like a road going through public land and there's a buck, as long as you get out of your truck and climb over the fence onto the public land, like even
Sure.
1 foot, you can take the shot. But a lot of
Really?
these guys like will rest their rifle up and they're still on the shoulder of the road, and that's a punishable offense. It's
Hmm.
fascinating.
Well,
but
yeah, you get your stuff pulled for that.
Yeah, it's bad.
I
Bad-
mean, that's
bad
just
news bears.
lust. That's lust at that point. You see a deer like that, and you're wanting to start breaking the law.
Fuds. Yep, we're gonna start the
Central.
anti-FUD club.
Mm.
Okay, we're
First
gonna
rule about FUD Club.
we're gonna
Don't
dive a little deep, and I know you're 18, so you might not have all of this figured out yet. But what are you passionate about?
Passionate's a big word. I would say I'm really passionate about goose hunting, or waterfowl hunting, but on the outside of the hunting world, I'm very, very passionate about cattle, and so that's kind of been
In what aspect? The raising, just the whole process.
honestly just like just cows in general are just very
He's got a lot of really big pets,
yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
just for that.
No, yeah, but yes, kind of.
You show?
Yeah, I show cattle. So, I mean, I like the show world. I like the show industry. I don't think that it's right in a lot of aspects of like the way they're taking cattle, if that makes sense. Like the breeding that they're like moving towards. But there's people like me that are, you know, like we just show what we like and kind of stick it to them. And
You mean like
I mean, just kind of to show them like, and just kind of bring it back. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of a rebel in the cattle world when it comes to just like, you know, showing what I like and not showing what wins. But
so when you say showing what wins, is there like that following in the cattle realm where it's kind of like the trophy
It's-
horses
yes,
with
it's
like the
very
Kentucky
trend.
Derby, like they're breeding for showing?
yeah, it's very trend-esque.
Interesting.
And for industry, it's not always right. You know what I mean?
Do you have like the super fluffy ones that you trim their hair just perfectly and the
Yeah, I
tail
mean,
and
yeah.
all that stuff?
They're pretty hairy. Yeah, I got a couple of really hairy ones.
Does it make them taste better?
No.
So okay,
Just makes them look cool.
do you butcher at the end of the season or do you sell them? Like, how does that work?
Lately, I've been showing heifers, a lot of heifers. So we'll just take them and kick them back out onto pasture. What we've been doing the last couple of years is going out in the fall, finding some yearling heifers that are like, I guess they're not yearlings, they're like heifer calves. We've been taking them, we've been showing them, and by showing them, we're like promoting them here in Michigan to try to build up like a following of like people that like our cattle so that we can start breeding, flushing these cattle for embryos and putting them in our commercial cows. So basically like breeding more of good cattle, like getting more calves out of, I mean, flushing, you know what that is?
Yeah.
But basically getting more cattle per production cycle. If
That's
that makes
super
sense.
cool. That's cool
Yeah.
to hear, to meet somebody that's on both sides of it. Not only just
yeah.
like, not only the showing side, but also the management. I mean,
Right.
it comes into the concert. It's a conservation aspect of it.
And I mean, we're just basically by showing, it's like I enjoy showing, but it's more to build up a following of people that enjoy the same cattle as I do. So someday if I did want to sell and make a profit out of it, they would already know what to expect.
Are you an influencer?
I would say so. Yeah.
Do you have like a social media following for your cattle?
Yeah. It's only like 400 and some odd followers, but
You're on Instagram?
Can we boost?
I have
Can we
Instagram.
boost that? Plug that Instagram.
I mean,
Yeah, what's your Instagram account? mate?
CM Reader 13.
All right.
Yeah.
We gotta change that. We gotta mess around with it to boost those numbers. Like, Hugh Heifer.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
literally, it's straight up. My Instagram is, I mean, mostly just straight up like cattle showing. Like if you want to know what it's about and what it looks like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And there again, it's like, I like showing cattle. I'm passionate about cattle. But it's the social side of it. Like to see a community that enjoys that as much as I do is very fascinating to me.
I have noticed for your age, you communicate well. There's not many kids in your age demographic
Thanks
that
for trying. I don't want a hermit.
Homeschool.
Full circle. Actually, yeah.
It's
What's
crazy,
wild
isn't
is
it?
Reed is the only public schooler in this PodBunker currently.
Yep. It's also why I'm the dumbest.
FUD.
He's the,
And we're back to fun.
he's also the only one in this PodBunker with a college degree.
That is also true.
Still a poor decision.
I think I have a degree in welding. Does that count? It was a college class.
I think it counts more.
I was going to say.
It counts more than my 6 credits.
There's a South Park, like you know what? I'm not even.
I was about to
I started
say,
thinking about college
go
and I
to
get pretty
South Park.
sad.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Guys, this is our favorite segment of the show. We here at Ataso HQ are gearheads. We freaking love gear and everything about gear. So, since you are a man of many species,
I guess you say
man
that.
of many species, we're gonna break it into 2 categories. So we're gonna do, because we're big whitetail nuts. So we're gonna go whitetail, but then we're also gonna do waterfowl.
I bet you this is the first time you've ever gone down the waterfowl route.
Who else have we had that loves Dan DeForge talked about waterfowl quite a bit. Who else did we talk to that had the waterfowl bug? Not many.
I think it was Dan DeForge.
He's the only one, right?
Yeah. We don't get very many waterfowl guys in here.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get more because waterfowl guys are they're nuts.
It's
Yeah.
it's just a different breed of
It's a
people.
different breed of hunter.
Yeah.
And whitetail guys are their own special, but you're right. It's totally a golfer versus a hockey guy. Like, I mean, yeah, we're fanatics about it, but we're just like hermited out in the woods. Like and then waterfowl guys are just like, dude, freaking invite all the buddies.
I'll be really honest with you. I feel like the waterfowl guys are more like I mean, you have your rednecks in the deer hunting world, but it's like you got the Phil Robertsons, you got the Willie Robertsons that are just straight up redneck blood.
You do get a lot
that are out
of
there in the
rednecks.
duck blind because they have a shotgun out there with their buddies, chatching it up.
That is true.
And it's just like one of those things that it's like they're going back to it. It's like my favorite part about waterfowl hunting, and he's like, yeah, it takes a lot to get into it, but honest to God, if you have somebody that or know somebody that has something that you can borrow one time, it's like whoever has a shotgun, they can go. You know what I mean? Versus having to buy this bow or buy this $high rifle. It's like if you have the $250 shotgun and you got a plug and you go get some steel shot, you can go. You know what I mean?
I just had this thought.
it's
Just
awesome.
like anybody, if you got a shotgun, you can go. And I'm thinking about the Mossberg 500 Tactical that has 11 shells in it, sitting in my closet right now.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you get a plug for that?
Yeah.
Oh, you can buy plugs for that.
Oh yeah,
Sure
you just
can,
go get
yeah.
a stick and you.
I thought you were about to say the Joe Biden go buy a shotgun meme.
No.
a double barrel shotgun, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need 30
Geese are wearing
rounds.
Kevlar vests.
Yeah, right.
All right. Gear. Here's our gear segment.
Yeah.
What are your top? So we'll start with whitetail. You're going into the woods. What are the top 5 pieces of gear that you will not leave the house without? Weapon excluded.
Weapon excluded.
Correct.
Top 5.
Don't need your bow. Don't need your shotgun.
When it comes to clothing, what are we? Clothing excluded?
Nope. Anything else. I mean, like anything that you use, systems like tools, accessories.
I will not leave the house without my backpack, my binos, which I guess that would count with the bino, like the chest pack.
Chest
What do you-
pack
what
is
do you
a game
run-
changer.
What are you
Chest
running
pack
for your
with
chest
binos.
rig?
I run a Badlands rig.
Nice,
and
nice,
I love it.
nice. With the
Absolutely
magnet.
love it. Oh, it
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. I used to have one of those little bungee things.
It's awful.
And it's just totally,
I need
it's
to
totally
upgrade
different.
mine. for that reason.
the Badlands one I've got has the built-in elastic, and
Yep,
then
yep,
there's
yep, mine does
actually
too. Yep.
mine's got a rangefinder pouch in the bottom.
See, I need to
That
invest
pops
in that.
open.
That'd be sweet. Mine's
And-
got the mole packs on the side, but I do not have that piece on the bottom.
The big game changer, and I don't want to completely derail gear, but like for bino harnesses, this was something that was like something I searched for years. I went through Kuiu, Sitka,
Really?
Field, like every loophole, Field and Stream, Vortex. I went through so many bino harnesses, and I just like could not find something that had everything I wanted.
See, it's funny. I think I got lucky when it came to it because I went and I was like, I'm going on this bear hunt. We need to gear up. We need to get this, that, and the other thing. And my dad and I were going through Cabela's, I think it was. And I was like, dude, this thing's badass.
It's
You know
incredible.
what I
Does
mean?
yours have the phone slot?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so like
Yep.
that was huge for me.
Yep.
Like my phone's not in my pocket; it slides right there. If I get a text, I can slide it out and see who it is, put it right back in.
Does yours have the there's a little hook on
Yes,
the bottom to hang
for the
your
D
bow?
loop. Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's like it was
you can
between
literally hang your bow and then grab your binos and look at stuff. It's the game changer.
between
totally a
that.
game changer.
between
Reed's buying
that-
one right now, aren't you?
I'm looking them up
yeah,
right
I was
now.
gonna say
Because I was out in the field the other night. My bino harness works. The thing I hate about it is I got the Vortex one that it's got the bungee, no big deal. What I don't like is I have to flip my flap up towards me and I have this black
yeah.
thing showing.
It'll get in the way, I bet.
And it makes a sound every time I do it where like every other good bino harness flips forward. So you just and slide out and you don't have this like color change,
Yep.
you know? And so
I mean, you tried it on like the Badlands one that
Oh, it's
I got.
comfy.
Well,
It
it's
checks.
slim,
It checks
too.
every box
Yeah.
I have. It's got the comfortable straps on the back. It's got the hook. It's got the phone holder. It's got the rangefinder in the bottom. It's got the binos. It's got all like the elastic like retainers. So if they fall out, they're not falling. The one thing that my Kuiu one had that the Badlands doesn't have, the Kuiu, the actual top used to like fold down. So your binos could always be exposed. That's the one thing that my gripe with the Badlands is when it goes to open up, it doesn't like open up and stay open. Sometimes like that
Yeah.
that magnet will catch and it'll go boom, and it'll close.
and
it's
I've
not-
heard
I could
people
see
like
that.
spooking deer with that, where that magnet slides back and it goes. And deer,
See, I think it's totally worth it.
It's
though.
pretty.
It's
like
worth the
like
risk.
all the other things that you get with it.
My biggest thing
worth
was when we went on our bear hunt was how slim down it was because I could still take a prone shot with
It
a
is.
rifle
Yeah, you're right.
and lay on top
It
of
is
it
so much slimmer.
with like the bipod. I could take a prone shot with it like on my chest and like it was no biggie, like no difference to me. Versus like I can't remember. I had like a Rocky Mountain or something like that before, and I mean the thing sticks out and like you just can't. You had to like roll it over to your side to like get a prone shot when we were coyote hunting and stuff, and it's just different. It's just not as efficient to me.
Sorry guys, we were nerding out on gear. Okay, so
Yeah.
bino harness. What was the other? What was the first one?
My backpack.
Backpack.
Yeah.
What are you running for backpack?
I honest to God, I just have
Just a run in the middle.
just
Okay.
a run of the mill camo.
Okay.
I can't. It might even be like a Gander Mountain series or something.
Honestly,
like
a backpack systems are so underrated.
So honestly, they are underrated. When we went out west for our bear hunt, though, I got a Badlands backpack, but it's gray, so I don't run it in the woods around here. It's gray, just like my Badlands chest thing is.
Nice.
But the Badlands backpack, same thing, game changer. It's really nice.
You do a good job with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's nice and lightweight, and you can put your rifle down inside of it. I mean, it's the way to go for sure. Moles on it to add extra bags. I mean,
Nice.
way to go for sure. But
Okay, so backpack, bino harness. You got 3 more. We're still on whitetail.
I will. I don't like to leave without a grunt tube
Nice. Okay.
personally.
No matter the time of season, early season, late season.
I just like a grunt tube. I can call in does early season with a grunt tube because I got one of those adjusters.
Oh, okay.
And like to give a little fawn, this, that, and the other thing, like calling in does isn't that hard.
Is it the extinguisher? You can have like it has this little
No,
slide
it's
on
like
it.
the cheap version, like the Primos or something.
Nice,
like that
okay.
version of the extinguisher.
All right.
Yeah.
Next one.
Rangefinder.
All right. What are you running for rangefinder?
100%. It's a Loophole 1800.
Nice. No, that's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
really good one. Does it have angle range compensation built into it? So
Yeah,
okay.
it does. Yep.
That is, for those of you that don't run angle range compensation, it is a game changer because the math, it calculates the cut for you. Most rangefinders don't. The problem that you have is most people would think if you're up in a tree and you're angled down at a deer, if you look at a triangle, most people think that that distance from your tree to the deer is longer than if you were on the ground to the deer, when in reality, it's not. It's actually generally, if you're up in the air and your deer's below you, it's less distance.
Right. My buddy actually just missed a buck the other day because of that.
No way.
Yeah. It was like at 80 yards. I mean, and you wouldn't think that would be a big a big deal.
It really is.
But,
that cut is huge, and the fact that you can buy it to where it will calculate whether the deer is above you or whatever the animal is, it's above you or below you, it will automatically calculate that cut and then give you. Mine gives me 2 yardages. It gives me the actual yardage, then it gives me the cut.
Mine does too, and then it tells me the degree of the angle over on the side,
Which is it's so cool. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, last piece.
That's hard. I mean, late season, I'll normally take a rattle bag.
All right.
But that's late season. I mean, early season, I won't even attempt that.
Yeah.
I will say a big thing for me is wind, like making sure that my wind is right.
So like a wind indicator.
So a wind indicator. Most of the time
wind
always
indicator.
goes.
You ever use the ones that are like little pieces of cotton that you pull out, or like
I have
milkweed?
not,
Like guys
no.
use like
I've seen guys
like
take milkweed.
like I'll do that if I'm walking through the woods and I see a milkweed pod. I'll pop it off and I'll just throw it in my backpack for a month or two, let it dry out, then I'll crack it open and I'll pull one of those little little parachutes out and I'll just drop it, and then that to me is almost more effective than the baby powder stuff.
I would probably have to agree with that. The only time I've ever seen anybody use one of those is my buddies in the goose field, because I mean you got to have the wind going against them when they're locking down. They want to land against the wind, so I mean that's the only time I've ever seen somebody use a milkweed piece. But
I had guys looking at me really weird on the golf course this summer when I busted out my windicator, and I was just like trying to figure out which way the wind.
they were like, "Dude, that thing's awesome. Where do I get one of those?"
They're pulling blades of grass to
Right,
throw up
yeah.
in the air to see which way the wind is blowing. And
Wind doesn't
You know,
matter
you're
for
being
me. I'm going to
smart.
slice it every time.
Right.
Well,
Driver home.
that's the
Jerome.
difference between hockey and golf.
Dude, I got a dog leg to the right, and boy, howdy, are we going to get some range.
Okay, so on the topic of whitetail still, what's the one piece of gear that you have for whitetail hunting that every time you pull it out, you get giddy because you still own that? And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I bought this.
Are you talking like prep and everything?
Anything,
at the beginning of the year,
anything gear related, whether it's in the middle of the moment, post, pre.
I'm gonna have to say my bow sight.
What are you running?
I have an HHA. It's a single pin.
Nice. Tetra?
Yeah.
So the same one, Reed, that's the same one you got, right?
Yeah, his is on
Mine is the
isn't dialed.
smaller one. It's not a dial. It's a throw lever instead. It's
Yeah,
just
interesting.
easier to get to.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty
I
slick.
thought when I bought it. It was like $200 and some odd. But after I bought it, I was like, had that pain, and everything like that. And then I bought it and I used it and I was like, this is the only
buy once,
way to
cry
go.
once.
Oh
There
my
is
gosh.
for those of you guys still running the horizontal pin sights. It just
gets too miraged for me.
It does, but also though it really closes the opportunity for shooting year round. Like the biggest reason we all got single pin sights is we got the archery course, we got the archery shed. Like we shoot all of this stuff at long distances, and just having the ability to go to whatever that distance is, whether it's 38.6 yards or 56.7 yards, just being able to go whoop, and put your sight right to it.
I just find the focus better. Like
That
when
is true.
I'm trying
It's
to
less,
focus,
it clouds up your sight picture.
When
less.
I'm trying to focus and put that pin just bury that pin right where I want it on a deer. It's like it's less distracting to me.
You don't
and less
ever have to
muffled.
worry about using the wrong pin.
Yeah, I never
wrong
have that.
yardage.
I never have that thing of like, did I put that pin where I wanted it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like every time I put that pin on a deer, it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
that's where that arrow is going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I would say that's the one piece of gear. It was like painful in the moment, but like every time I use it, I'm like, yeah, I'm very glad I have this.
It's worth it.
Every time.
All right, waterfowl time. Top 5. You're going to the field. Top 5 pieces of gear. Weapon. Should we exclude decoys as well? Because those are a given.
I mean, you have to have decoys.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to exclude weapon, decoy, blind. So those 3 things, we're going to exclude those 5 pieces of gear that you always have. Calls. You got to take calls out of there. Like
You don't always have to have calls though.
Okay. All right. So blind, weapon, decoys. Those 3 things you can't.
Yeah.
Top 5 pieces of gear that you take in the field with you outside
You don't
of those.
always have to have a blind too. I mean, if you're duck hunting in a marsh, you can get away with hiding under some trees or something. So I mean, that's not like I don't know, but I would say definitely my waterfowl bag that I have, my ammo bag, huge game changer. Like when I started hunting in the marsh and stuff like that, I was always really concerned about my ammo getting wet. Because I've heard horror stories of, guys getting their ammo wet. I mean, boxes of ammo. You know what I mean? 3-4 boxes. I mean, what is that? $60-$80?
Yeah, especially
$20 a
especially
box.
today.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like $20 a box now. But anyways.
Oh, more than that even. You getting some Black Cloud triple Bs.
Yeah, but I don't shoot. I'll be honest, I've been shooting a lot of expert 2-shot lately.
Have you?
3-inch. 3-inch expert 2-shot. $20 a box, and that stuff kills geese like crazy.
Okay,
And then
but
you can
get,
shoot ducks
the
with it too,
high-end
and you
stuff,
don't
it's like
mangle them.
$50-$60 a box, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy that stuff.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I would go broke.
2-shot?
I'm
Like
still
there's
broke,
2
but-
balls? Like 2
No, 2-shot is actually the size of the BB that is in there.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
so
like
I'm-
double-aught would be.
The bigger or the smaller the number, the bigger the shot is. So like
Right.
double-aught buckshot is, like
Yep.
big.
Yep.
Big BBs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So 2-shot, I really, really enjoyed 1-shot while I was running it, but I cannot find 1-shot anywhere anymore, which really makes me upset. Bothers me. But the 2-shot's been nice because I can kill a lot of geese with it. It's been really good to me. And then I can also use it for mallards and woodies and not mangle them. So, I mean, that's what I've been running lately. Winchester Expert 2-shot.
I usually kill 1 goose out here a year with my bow.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
I was telling Reed last hunt we were on in a cornfield, Cooper Byram took his bow with him. And we could not get one to land, but if we were going to land a single, he was going to shoot it with his bow and a turkey head.
I just wait. That's what I do is I'll call. So they'll land on the pond. I'll be in the house and I'll sneak out of the pond. I'll find a good spot to hide and I'll honk at them quite a bit and I'll call them and wait till they
You got a goose call?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've had it since I was like 11. I don't know why my dad thought this was a good idea, but he bought it for me when I was like 11 years old.
See, he's probably pretty good at goose calling too. Need to get him out.
I am pretty good at goose calling.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'll call them and I'll get them to get within 30 or 40 yards, and then while they're floating on the water, I just. But
You go
I mean,
for the
that's
head?
not bad.
no, I go for the body, and it's tough because like if you don't lace them just perfect, same thing with turkeys, they'll go quite a ways.
Mhm.
They won't die fast.
Well, that's what Cooper wants to do. He wants to shoot one. You've seen those really big turkey broadheads?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wants to shoot one in the head. Cut
The
its head off with
guillotine.
it. Yeah. But anyways,
so
I would say my bag that I have, my ammo bag.
what
it's-
are those made out? Are they made out of like wader material?
So not all of them are actually waterproof, but the one that I actually bought, it's a Drake, and it's like Gore-Tex material. That's like That's the best way I can explain it. It's like Gore-Tex material, and the whole thing's watertight, so I can literally just set it down in the swamp, in the water, wherever I'm at.
It'll be fine.
And it's fine.
That's awesome.
So like that was probably the biggest change up, and I just bought that this year because I started hunting more swamps for ducks and stuff. But that was probably one of the biggest game changers to my arsenal of things. I guess the other thing would be, of course, my lanyard with calls on it. I run
calls and bands.
Yeah, bands.
Boys banded up.
Yeah, I am. But blinged out.
Bands that make her dance.
Iced up.
Let's go. Oh yeah.
Iced up and dripped out. Anyways.
Okay, so ammo bag.
My lanyard with my calls on it. I run I have 3 calls that I run. One is a zinc. I run a zinc goose call. The main 2 that I run though are both JT calls. The one is a duck. The CQ2 is a mallard call. That's my favorite mallard call that I've tried. And then I run their short fuse for geese, and I feel like I can get a lot of fast action on that one, and I can really whip it. But those are my 2 calls of choice. So that'd be 2 things. 3 things would be my third thing. That's really hard. I don't know. You don't have to take much to goose hunt. That's the thing. You don't have to take much to waterfowl hunt.
Apparel?
I mean, yeah, are we
Like,
going to start talking about that?
No, I feel like your clothing setup in a
honest.
situation like that is crucial.
So I'll be really honest, though. In those layout blinds for geese, like me and my buddies have come straight from work before and hunted in blue jeans and sweatshirts.
Okay, so geese specifically, but like duck, I feel like a pair of waders is like crucial.
Oh, yeah. So that's totally different. Now you're talking about swamp hunting, and it's like, I just honestly, I have a set of tideweed waders that are heated.
I've heard those things I've heard they're killer.
They're really nice. I mean, for $130.
Yeah.
Nice.
They've got the corner on the market for cheap equipment.
I mean, I haven't had a problem with them. They're nice.
Tideway, like between blinds and like there's everything that they sell. It's like quality cheap.
Have you seen Andy Briggs?
Yes.
Isn't that funny?
Yes, and Jesse.
Yeah,
I've
just
seen Jesse in it
a couple
too.
buddies of ours like partnered up with Tideway through their company Grizz Media, and so I'll be like scrolling through Instagram, and Tideway will have a not an infomercial, but like a advertisement, and it's like, oh, Andy in a blind. Okay, it's like it's not even on his Instagram. It's just some
Right.
random one you're looking through. It's like got 1.8 million views. You're like, oh, they made it. Cool.
Yeah, no, I'd say my ammo bag, my lanyard, waders if I'm in a swamp. The other thing I've found really useful lately for hauling out of a swamp is a duck lanyard. That's like you hang your dead on it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like what is that? Like a tether almost.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. I mean, you can.
it's a
wrap it around
stringer.
your neck. Yeah, basically, it's a stringer for ducks. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
wrap it around your neck and you can hang all. I mean, the one I have is a 12 bird setup, so it's like you can hang up to 12 birds around your neck and haul them out. I mean, it's that. Honest to God, that's been one of the bigger change ups for duck hunting for me.
That's a huff if it's goose hunting though.
Oh my
12.
gosh.
Can you imagine 12 goose?
Well, most of the time you don't shoot geese in the swamp and you can drag them out by hand, so that's
Right.
not a huge deal. But the ducks, it's like to get them out of the middle of wherever you hiked into, like Hughes Lake down in Dansville. When we hunt that, I mean, we actually like hike into the swamp. Like you're deep into that swamp lake, and to get out of there and then haul whatever you killed out too, it's like you're already packed to the max going in. Coming out, you're like, plus you're dead. So it's like, I don't know. That's been a big one. So
Here's a question for you.
yeah.
When you shoot goose versus duck, how often are you just breasting and legging them out versus plucking and cooking them whole?
I've never plucked and cooked one whole. And honest to God, I do not leg them out either.
Just breast.
Just breast them.
Just breast them out.
Yeah. The legs aren't worth it.
Because I know a lot of guys, I mean, I do legs with turkeys and it's not as good. Like the breasts are, it's a little bit tougher, a little more gamey.
I always feel
Reed's a
bad.
breast guy himself.
It's true. I do always feel a little bit bad though, because I hate wasting meat. But even processing my own deer this year, you start getting into some stuff where it's like, if I
Why?
spent 20 minutes really carving that out, I could get another scrap to throw in the grinder. Or it's just like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot another whole deer.
Well, you got to trim the silver skin off of it to keep it from being gamey. And like this, in our realm, in our world, there's certain aspects of it where it's really not wasteful.
And same thing with turkeys too. You know, I'll shoot a turkey and the leg meat just isn't great on a wild game bird because it's just got
It's what they're running and gunning with, man.
Yeah, and so you get into it and it's like, gosh, you know, I took your life, so I feel like I owe it to you to do my due diligence and get every bit of meat I can off of you.
My one caveat would be if you were to put it in like a crock pot and pull it. And like for a long time. If it's rendered down, it's good. Because you get that bone broth.
I don't know anybody that, like, out of all the buddies that I have a lot of friends that hunt waterfowl, and I don't know anybody that eats legs. Not one.
What about wings?
No.
Well, yeah, there's not a whole lot of meat on the wings because it's all just like...
Well, you also got to think about their migration. I mean, you know how much they use that muscle, how tough that wing is probably? Versus turkeys.
That's true.
Versus turkeys that just kind of hang in the same place all the time.
Insta jerky.
Yeah. You know how turkey legs are really tough because they walk everywhere?
Yeah, same thing.
Migration.
Same
like
thing
how
with
much they fly.
migratory birds.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's the same thing with pigeons. Like pigeons, like you would think that they wouldn't have that much meat on them, but when you breast them out, you're like, oh wow, this breast is actually pretty big because
It's
they
crazy
fly
that
so
you
much.
eat pigeon.
It's
Never
so
even
good. Farm pigeon, so good.
It is really... Because like you look at a pigeon, you're like... Because you look at the environment that they're in.
Is pigeon in the dove family?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Because like I know dove is great. People shoot certain kinds of doves. Like we can't kill mourning doves around here.
Well, it's like
but
you can... Is squab? Is that like a baby pigeon? People eat that?
I don't know.
And like it's a delicacy. I was a little...
I think that's a baby chicken.
No, it'd be called a chick. I'm pretty sure squab... Let me look it up.
I think squab's a small chicken. I think.
How would you
And
spell
it's
that?
a delicacy. I don't know. You said it.
SCWAB.
Yeah.
Squab.
Anyways, yeah, there's like a delicacy that's... Whoa. No, that's Charles Schwab. Oh, okay. Squab. A culinary terminology, squab is an immature domestic pigeon, typically under 4 weeks old. Its meat tastes like a dark chicken. The word squab probably comes from the Scandinavians.
So
And
it's literally just domestic.
It's a whole... Ooh, these are weird. It's like a straight up whole baby... It's like a little turkey is what it looks like. They cook them whole.
Well, it just said it was a mini pigeon, so I don't think it's a turkey.
But like it looks like a full-on turkey that you would have on Thanksgiving. Miniature. Like
That's pretty cool.
squab.
Oh, look at that.
Pigeon.
Interesting.
So kind
Kind of
of
honestly, it looks like a grouse or a pheasant.
I was just about to say, I bet you it's like a grouse or something, but probably more tender and less gamey.
Yep.
But when we breasted out those pigeons that one night, like I remember sitting there plucking. I'm like, gosh dang it, this is a pigeon. Like this thing's gross.
Gross.
Yeah, you sit there, you breast them out, super easy. You get the breast, and then you throw them in the batch of whatever else you got that evening, and you're like, you just don't really think about it after that. You know how like
No, yeah.
yeah, you know how like when you like take a slice of meat, you cut it out and like throw it right on the pan. You still have the association of like dead animal meat, kind of like queasy. But if you were to go buy that meat from the supermarket, you would have no association of that at all.
Yep.
Same thing. Once it was like in the pan with everything else, you're just like, oh yeah, meat, no big deal. Then you eat it and it's like, oh, this is good.
It's probably one of the best birds I've ever tasted that you can just fry.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because like
Even
I mean,
over
you can do, like,
pheasant.
fried
Even
pigeon.
over pheasant.
well, you can fry
Pheasant, some of the best bird I've ever had.
Isn't pheasant a white meat though?
Yes.
Right. See, I'm not a huge white meat fan at all.
Caleb likes it dark.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, because goose is red. That threw me for a
Ish.
that threw me for a loop.
See, I'm not a huge fan of goose either.
Goose
but
is-
unless I make it into jerky. I won't eat it fried or I won't eat it any other way but jerky.
I'm really
make a
interested
lot
to
of
try goose jerky sometime because we breasted it out and grilled it and it was
What are you doing
it was-
Thursday morning?
It was
thought he said-
gnarly.
Yeah, right, exactly. I thought Reed said that you took that. Didn't you bring him a goose and you guys were gonna smoke it?
You brought 2 duck breasts with CJ.
That would have been a goose.
They were, I swear they were duck breasts, and we smoked both of them.
Well, he didn't
And
shoot
they
him
were-
with
CJ
me.
they
bring
were-
the duck breast?
He may have. They were really tasty.
Yeah, because
I've only had
I
goose
never brought
once.
I never brought a duck to you.
And I grilled it, and I grilled it like a steak, and it was pretty grody.
Yeah, I would not.
I think if I
suggest grilling or frying one.
brined it for a few days and then smoked it and then like thinly sliced it on like a meat slicer, like cold cuts, I think it would be pretty tasty to do like a sandwich or something with. It's worth a shot. I love experimenting. So like when it comes to different recipes and just trying stuff, it's worth a shot. So we've been here talking and just chit-chatting, just us gals for a while here, and I've realized like the whole purpose was to talk about this freaking bear hunt. We haven't even talked about the freaking bear hunt. So before we hit the lightning round and Reed falls asleep, let's talk about this bear hunt.
Reed won't fall asleep.
I
He'll be
slept
fine.
for a long time last night. I have not fallen asleep.
Nah, he'd be fine.
You seem like you're dozing though.
No, I'm just
Nah, he's just
enjoying
watching
it, man.
bears.
Yeah, watching a couple bears screwing.
All right, so tell us about this bear hunt.
I mean, just start from the beginning.
Yep. Where was it? When was it?
So
Talk us through the entire story.
it was this past spring. We went out, and me and my dad went out for my senior trip, and went to Wyoming, just around the Cody, Wyoming area, right outside of Cody, up in the mountains, and it was pretty cool. They had like a little lodge, and they had horses, and I don't know. It's just a cool experience. It's out in the middle of the woods, so it was kind of like away from civilization for however long. Like it was quite a long time. I mean, it was a week and a half or something, and I mean, like no electricity kind of deal. So it was just kind of neat with that. Yeah, every evening we always went in the evenings. Bear activity in the mornings wasn't that great, so honestly, we slept in and went out around 2-ish o'clock or something like that, and just sat on one mountaintop and watched the other mountaintop for a couple of days. And when we found a couple of bears that we thought were worth going after, we would get on horseback, and the guys would take us down across the valley over to the other side of the mountain, where we would spot them. And a couple of guys would stay on the cliff that we were sitting on and watch them and like tell us which direction that they were going through walkie-talkies and stuff. And yeah, and then we would like go after these bears. And
Brown bear or black bear?
Black bears, yeah.
So this is no baiting. This is strictly spot and
straight up.
stock.
Well, I told my dad when we went out there, I said I don't want to hunt over a bait pile because I think that's so easy. It's the same. I mean, it's just
that's what
like
you see
anything.
most black bear hunters do. They just sit over this pile of donuts, and so good on you for doing that.
I just don't see the fun or the it's like the whole primal thing of like going and finding and hunting down and pursuing your prey. You know what I mean? And I mean, I guess the bear is the prey in that aspect, you know? I guess it's the same thing when it comes to birds. I mean, you scout, you pursue, you know what I mean? It's the whole pursuit. Honestly, the pursuit is the best part to me. I think that is the best part of hunting, is the pursuit.
That's the one thing of whitetail that bums me out, is there's the still aspect of like climbing in a tree and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There was one time actually here I was able to put a quote unquote spot and stalk on a buck, and I've never experienced that before, but it gave me a little bit of a peek into that window of what it would be like to be out west and be up on a ridge and find the animal and then figure out the chess game of how do I get close enough to that animal to take its life is just fascinating.
It was a lot harder than I thought, because you'd be sitting on one side of the mountain, you would see this, you'd be like, oh yeah, we just got to go over that little hill, this, that, and the other thing, and then you get
4
over there
miles,
and everything looks the same, and you're like, oh my gosh.
And it's tall, like
yeah,
it's just like timber, and you're climbing
Depth
over stuff.
perception is totally different from the other side.
While that bear's also moving at 4 miles an hour, so by the time you even get remotely close, he's already gone.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and that was what we would also be looking for, is like, even if we saw a bear, it was like we were looking for him just chilling out, kind of feeding in an area. And that's when we were like, you know, if we sat there and watched him for 5 or 10 minutes and he's kind of just chilling in that area, then we're like, okay, that's a gettable bear. And so we would go down.
Is that the technical term?
Gettable. Yep.
Yeah.
It is here right now. I just made it one.
Man, that's the
I
second.
don't know if your guides are like, you're looking for gettable bear only.
That's
Gettable
the
bears.
second thing that's been coined in the PodBunker. Gettable and Chill Dude Lounge.
Chill Dude Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it the Dude Chill Lounge? The Dude Chill. All right, bear
Can't
story.
remember, but
Play.
yeah. Anyways, I don't know. It just there was 3 guys that guided us. 2 of them sat up on the other ridge, and the other guy took us across the valley. And yeah, I mean, we tried to find these bears on the other side, and I think it was by day 3 we finally found a big cinnamon that we honestly didn't know the size on immediately. And so my dad and one of the guides sat there and watched this bear for a while me and the other guide tried to like book it over the next ridge and try to see if we could find this other bear that this guy was spotting from the other ridgetop.
Were you using radios and comms to kind of communicate?
Yeah.
Hey, he's moving
I
east.
mean, that's the only way to do it. I mean, you could have a guy up there dancing with a flag, but I mean, it'd be really hard.
Smoke
Can you
signals.
imagine like
Yeah.
the signal flags?
Right. It'd be a little bit
Like a
difficult.
warship, big flag.
Guy up there with lightsabers trying to direct bear traffic.
Gettable bear this way.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. No cardboard sign up there that says gettable.
Yeah. Air traffic.
We're checking him out with the binos. He's got a
Yogi
gettable
inbound.
sign up. Yeah, right, exactly. Big cardboard gettable sign up. Yeah.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, gettable 6-foot bear on the other side of ridge. But anyways, yeah, so we kind of booked it up over that ridge and sitting there trying to figure out how to make a stalk on this other bear, and all of a sudden I hear my dad shoot. I was like, oh, sweet. I don't know what he shot, but they were watching that bear, so I assumed
How far
he
was your
shot it.
dad shot?
I want to say his was 2 something. I want
Okay.
to say it was like 270 something.
Which isn't particularly far because
No, he was using a
using
6.5
6.5 Creedmoor on a LaRue Siete setup,
Yeah.
which might possibly be the first bear killed in North America.
think it
with
was.
a LaRue Siete.
I think it was because Mark LaRue posted it on his LaRue page, and then they sent him a free another barrel for that
Sent him
gun.
like 4 barrels for that gun.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Is that what your dad has?
No, well, Dad
The
has
one
a
that we-
6.5 Creedmoor, but it's a very different gun.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they just came out with the Siete, and so only a few and far between like people have them. I mean, there's probably more out now than there was back in the spring, but he was on the list of like the first 700 people to have them or whatever. So he took it down immediately.
It's a bolt-action precision rifle built by Mark LaRue.
Is that
It's
the
the first
seventh?
bolt
Is that the 7th model?
No,
Why do they call it the Siete?
I don't know.
Is it spelled like 7 in Spanish?
It is.
But, I mean, Mark LaRue for years and years, and maybe it was because it took 7 years to build it.
I don't know, but this is the first bolt gun that he's ever put out. And so that was the big deal.
And the stipulation was to get on the list to be able to order one, you had to have bought a suppressor from Mark LaRue before.
Yeah, so my dad bought 3.
Yeah. And so he was like first on the list to get to the Siete, got the first reported bear kill with it, sent the picture to Mark LaRue. Mark was so jazzed up that he sent him like 4 barrels. For the
Yeah,
gun.
it was pretty cool. He literally got the gun that winter and like took it out, I think 2 months later on that bear hunt.
So when's Mark LaRue coming on the podcast?
He's in Texas. I don't know. That'd be pretty
We could go
sweet.
to
When
him.
are we going to Mark LaRue?
Mark LaRue LaRue has the funniest Instagram account because it's just all pictures of targets with sub MOA hits.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And like it's pretty much the same picture every time, and then Mark LaRue just talking about like whatever that gun performed like, and it's all in his like secondhand, like it's all shortened verbiages and stuff like that. He doesn't ever write out full words. He's just like, felt pretty good, DBC, got to try to do this next time. I don't know, still ongoing project to be continued. Like, and you're just like,
yeah,
what
meanwhile,
the
it's
heck?
like the best shot group you've seen ever from most people.
Follow
love
Mark LaRue on Instagram. It's hilarious.
I love guys that geek out in like a real way on stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's nobody geeking out more on precision rifles than Mark LaRue.
It's not a bad thing, though.
Oh no, he's a fanatic about it. If
Okay.
yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. But anyways,
So
Bear story.
yeah, so I heard him shoot and radioed, and we're like, what'd you shoot? And he's like, I shot that cinnamon bear. And so anyways, we go back, starting to get dark, go back and got the bear and, processed it and everything there. And yeah, it was like more of a shock when we got up to the bear. We were like, okay, this bear is a lot bigger than we thought it was. So that was really cool, especially to get a phased bear was like way cool, and to get a phased old boar was the coolest part. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big bear, it was a cinnamon, and it was like an old boar. So that combination was pretty sweet.
As far as like the cinnamon goes, how much like a brown bear did it actually look? Did it look?
It looked literally like it was more red, like that duck right there.
Oh, okay.
Like that kind of red. Like
okay, so honestly,
red.
so it kind of looked like some of those brown bears that are up on the screen, just a little bit more red.
It was darker,
and way
that.
smaller.
I mean, I got a picture of it, and then
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the next day we went out, and the next day in that same spot that he shot his bear. It's a long story, but we were hucking it back. Me and one of the guys, my dad decided to stay on the other ridge that day. But me and one of the guys were hucking it back. It was starting to get dark, and we were literally just coming back, and this big black bear shows up, and wasn't color phased. It was just a big black bear, and he's like, "That's a big bear." And I had about 30 seconds to process if I wanted to shoot it or not, because I think we spooked it. It was like coming across the ridge top. But yeah, so anyways, I got down, buried my sight on him. I was shooting the other guy's rifle setup. So,
what was it you were shooting?
It was a 6.5, but I think it was the bigger version of the 6.5. So it was like a 6.5. I can't remember. It's a bigger cartridge, so it had more powder behind it, but it was a 6.5, and I shot it at like 375 yards.
Jeez,
70 something.
That's a poke.
Yeah, but I don't know. I tend to blame it on the gun, but I ended up spine shooting him, so he dropped, and he was rolling around, and well, I was like, that's not good, you know what I mean? And so I went to go put another one in him, and he's like, it just wasn't working. So he rolled into some brush, and we were like, well, we got to go after this bear now. And that's when it got like pretty interesting.
Dang, that's the first picture I've seen of Uncle Matt.
Oh, you've never seen Uncle Matt before?
Nope, that's the first one.
Yeah,
he's not what I pictured.
I didn't know you could put stuff up there. That's pretty cool.
He's pretty, isn't he?
Does he have a beard like that all the time?
Yeah, most of the time. Unless my mom makes him shave it for a few.
Dude, that's awesome. What a cool memory.
Yeah, Kale.
The cowboy hats are a vibe.
Yeah.
Same hoodie. Nice.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool.
Did you get a rug made? A bear rug?
Yeah, so they're both out there getting made right now.
So what was the, how much meat did you get off that bear? Oh, nice sick.
The guys, I'll be really honest. The guy said that the only thing worth eating on those bears was the backstrap. So we took the backstraps out of both bears.
For what reason?
He said that the meat, like the roasts and stuff like that, was more. While it's not rancid, he said it tastes more
interesting,
like kind of just not good. I guess I don't know.
We had Ethan Hammond on the podcast recently, and he shot a black bear up in Canada that was like a big berry eating bear.
I think the berry bears taste really good from what I've heard.
He brought in sausage, like summer sausage and snack sticks, jalapeno cheddar, and that was just, it blew my mind. It didn't even taste like bear.
See, I would have been down to try that, but I think these bears were more living on like pine cones.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah, I could see that.
Have you ever had a elk that just eats sagebrush? They taste like sagebrush.
I've only had elk jerky, and then I've had elk backstrap once.
I ate an elk burger while we were out in Montana one time at a restaurant. Literally tasted like I was chewing on a piece of sagebrush. It was not good, like at all. But, I mean, that's just the one time I tried it. I could be knocking it, but I don't know. I didn't care for it at all. I'd eat pigeon all day.
I have heard, what's interesting, I've heard that elk hunters love the taste of whitetail.
I assume
whitetail hunters like the taste of elk.
Not this one.
Or it's vice versa. It's like the elk hunters love the taste of elk, but they hate the taste of whitetail, and whitetail hunters love the taste of whitetail, but they hate the taste of elk.
Dude, I like meat.
Yeah.
You suck.
I was thinking it. I didn't say it. But
I'm just getting reamed on in this podcast.
Is that why you got a mouthful of nuts?
No, sometimes Reed forgets that we're filming. It's all on camera.
Jeez.
YouTube saw it first. Okay.
Hey, we are going to have a segment on here where we, it's called Buck Nuts and Deer Nuts. Or no, Deer Nuts and Beer Nuts. We got nuts off of a buck that we're going to do up in a couple different ways.
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, we're going to do beer nuts and deer nuts. See what
Rocky
that tastes
Mountain
like.
oysters right there.
You betcha.
Yeah, so anyways, we had to go after this bear because I hit him in the spine. And me and getting dark and everything, it was just kind of a nerve-wracking deal, wounded black bear. And got back up into that brush up there, and he came over a log, and I was probably 15 yards from the bear. He was crawling at me. Yeah.
Hit butthole with this big.
Yeah, it's pretty spooky, I'm not going to lie. But anyways, pulled up the gun and at 15 yards, plugged him right in the chest and dropped him right there.
That is scary.
Yeah, but I will not lie. My adrenaline was at an all-time high.
Double tap, no scope.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Thank goodness it was a black bear, not a brown bear.
Oh my gosh, I think a brown bear would have eaten me right there. Second wind, legs rejuvenated.
How are the back straps?
Oh, we haven't tried them yet.
Oh, you haven't got them yet?
No, I mean, they're at my house, but we haven't tried them
bust them out
yet.
for Thanksgiving.
I don't know how Grandma would feel about that.
Just don't say anything.
That's true.
You'll have to let us know how that is.
I've heard they're pretty good, so I'm pretty excited about it. I got to figure out a way to do them. I don't know.
We can look up some recipes. We'll just sneak them into Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
Don't say nothing.
Kind of like the beaver.
Just make sure to cook them to
my
160.
Mom, we told my mom that that beaver was venison tenderloin. She ate it.
That's all right. She liked it.
I forgot about that. And then we told her it was beaver, and she was gagging.
Oh.
She said it was a glorified woodchuck.
Yeah. Same family. I will say, though, do you know about the trichinosis with bear?
Oh, yeah, it's really, really bad. Like that one episode of Steven Ranella, he's talking about it. And, he got deathly sick.
Yeah, cook that sucker to 160.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
We looked up, we had, like I said, we had Ethan Hammond on. We were talking about trichinosis, and we looked up pictures of, the trichinella parasite. Dude, it's freaky stuff. Super duper freaky.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, well.
They're under a microscope, they're these really eerie looking little worms that get into your bloodstream, and then they lay their larvae in your muscles. And then when the eggs hatch, it causes extreme amounts of pain in your muscles. I mean, it's not like a lifelong thing. It's temporary, but it's still.
That's pretty crazy though.
Gross. So that's right there. So that's that's the actual parasite itself.
Huh.
And then those worms.
Looks like a messed up Van Gogh painting.
Those worms lay larvae in your muscles.
Starry Nightmare. Oh, man. Yeah, look at this. In the meat.
Yeah, no thanks.
I did read somewhere, though, that it's 160 is a safe number. I think trichinella die at 150.
That's cool. That's what I've heard, too. And
I've taken no chances, though.
I've also heard that the trichinosis, the number for it, the degrees on when it dies, gets lower as scientists keep
digging into it.
Yeah, keep digging into it.
160 sounds good.
I've heard it's gone down 10 degrees.
160 sounds good.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yep. Steve Ranella got burned on a medium rare steak.
Blech.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad.
Are we ready for the lightning round?
You betcha.
All right, so this is the lightning round. This is the end of the show where we wrap up. It's our second to last segment. We're going to throw a bunch of quick questions at you, and you can't really think about it. We may stop you if
bananas.
If you give an answer to one of these questions.
Why are you thinking about bananas?
I don't know. You tell me.
Instant reel. This is great. I'm capitalizing on all of this. Okay. So we may stop you if you give an answer that's really interesting to us. But other than that, it's just first thing that pops into your head, boom, got to answer.
All right.
Reed, start us off.
Would you rather shoot a Boone and Crockett typical or non-typical?
Non-typical.
All right. Would you rather own a 3,000-acre high-fence ranch in Texas or a 500-acre farm in Michigan?
500-acre farm.
Mauled by a bear or bit by a rattlesnake?
Mauled by a bear.
Oh.
That's respectable.
Go out like a man?
That'd be one hell of a way to go out. That's all I got to say.
That'd be brutal.
Yeah.
Would you rather be attacked by a moose or a wild boar?
I think a moose. I'm not going to lie.
You got a death wish.
Jeez.
We're going to talk.
It'd be way cooler.
All right.
It's all about the story.
Would you rather have an all expense paid Wyoming elk hunt or a Canadian moose hunt?
Canadian moose hunt.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
What is your favorite outdoor brand?
Oh, man, that's hard. Is that like including firearms?
Yeah, everything.
I'd have to go with LaRue's stuff. LaRue's rifles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your go-to snack.
Because a close second.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. You do like boys. Okay. Go-to snack in the field.
Ooh, I'd have to go sunflower seeds. Cracked pepper.
I like
It's
it.
a pretty crunchy one for the field, isn't it? Well, I guess you're a
goose
waterfowl
hunt,
guy.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
You're sitting there
Yeah.
baiting them.
Honestly, I'll
Is
be
that
really
considered
honest.
baiting?
No,
You're
because
sitting
there's
there
no
throwing
seed
seeds.
inside of it.
Well.
You eat the seed.
I'm slightly worried for his age that he's not going to know who two of these people are.
No, he'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy grew up watching Barney Fife.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he's homeschooled. Yeah, of course
Yeah,
he
he's
knows. Okay.
homeschooled. He's
So,
weird enough.
You have a bounty on your head. Would you rather be hunted by Ted Nugent or Fred Bear?
Oh.
He knows.
I think it'd be cooler if it was Fred Bear.
Quicker, faster. You don't
Yeah.
know what happened.
Yeah.
Rather than
I think he'd find you a lot
a
faster.
distorted electric guitar in the horizon,
Yeah.
and then
Just
all
an
of a sudden,
eagle screech. You just hear a Hemi roar.
yeah, I'd probably have to go with Fred Bear.
Zebra arrows flying all around you.
Yeah, it'd be kind of crazy, but
All right.
All right, would you rather step on a bear trap or fall from your tree stand?
fall from my tree stand.
Ouch.
Yeah, both suck.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
there's-
a bear
there's-
trap? Are you kidding me?
Have
I mean,
you ever
that's how
seen
they
that
used
video of the guy punching the bear trap?
Yeah, and doesn't he like go? He's like in tremendous pain.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, have you ever
that's
seen
what
a
people used to
compound
use.
femur fracture though?
Well, I don't think it breaks his arm because there legally there has to be a gap big enough that
I know a guy that fell from his tree stand this year and broke his neck.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that
shows
sucks.
cattle.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. Like,
He's just got a neck brace,
oh, okay.
and everybody keeps asking him why he has it. He keeps
I know
having to
somebody-
tell that embarrassing story.
Yeah.
He goes, a hot girl walked by.
Yeah, exactly.
I know somebody with a neck brace who got rear-ended in their Honda Fit.
That's man,
You're bound to get rear-ended if you drive a Honda Fit. We'll leave it
Fair.
at that.
fair.
Last
All
one?
right. Last but not least, you have to kill a deer. All you have is jumper cables, vice grips, paracord, and a sand wedge. How do you do it?
Sand wedge is a golf club.
A sand wedge, paracord,
Paracord, vice grips, and jumper cables.
You get to use all of those.
vice grips.
Yep. You have those 4 tools. What scenario do you create in order to secure the kill?
I'm thinking you're gonna have to make some kind of noose. So my guess is, I'm thinking like sapling, bent sapling, with some kind of paracord that's attached to like something in the ground with the vice grips, because the vice grips can snap open if they're pulled right. So I'm thinking like I don't really know how you'd incorporate the jumper cables, but I'm thinking the paracord you could easily take from, well, I mean, you could use those as a rope too, I guess, but you could take the paracord from the top of the tree down to the vice grips and then make it a trip wire over something else, and then have some kind of noose set also with paracord.
Also a set.
Yeah. That's just what I'm thinking.
You
But
don't have
that's
to
only
use
using the paracord and the vice grips.
Then how do you kill it?
Well, it would be noosed by the neck.
What if it's by the leg?
Well, then you're in trouble.
Sand wedge.
I'm thinking. I was just about to
Bludgeon
say.
it.
Yeah, I'd just probably hit it with a sand wedge.
Sand wedge.
You know what my favorite part
Tiger
about that
Woods
question
from
is?
the bunker.
No. That wouldn't be good enough. I'd probably jump on top of it and strangle it
With the jumper
with the
cables?
jumper cables.
Atta boy.
Playing
That'd be
Ted
the only
Nugent.
way to do.
Got you in a
Yeah,
stranglehold,
right, exactly.
baby.
Right.
That was one of the best answers we've had to that question.
You know what my favorite part about that question is?
What most primitive answer? Go ahead.
I want to know another answer after Reed's done talking. I want to hear something else.
You got to
go back and listen to the
listen to
podcast.
all. It's the
All
end
right.
of all the Spotlight series.
All right, sounds good.
second to the last thing we do. My favorite part about it is like people say it and we always go, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Or somebody says something and we're like, well, why didn't you try this? And we start critiquing them, getting mad that they didn't, whatever. It just makes me laugh. Anyways, last segment.
Last segment of the show, we call What the Fart. We have the fart dictionary in the PodBunker. So here's the rules of What the Fart. You crack the fart dictionary and you don't get to pick. It's whatever the first one that your eyes fall on. That is the Caleb Reeder fart. You get to read it to the listeners and then you get to sign your name by it. And it is forever.
I
in
just
ink.
open the book.
You open it to whatever page you want, and the first one that you see, you have to read, and that's the Caleb Reeder fart.
Eagle Scout fart.
Wait, we've done that one before.
No. It was just
It's
had
not
a
an
fart,
ink,
we
though.
had a fart read by an Eagle Scout.
True.
That's what it was.
Was
That's
it?
the correlation.
Was it that? Okay.
This has no name by it.
Okay.
It
Then
just
it's
says
your
Eagle
fart.
Scout
That's it.
fart.
All right.
Do I got to read what the fart is?
You sure
Fart
do.
em-
What the
a
fart?
fart emitted by a farter held in high regard by his farting peers. You two, right?
I would be in your farting peer group.
You would
yes.
definitely be one of
Yeah,
them.
me and B-Rob probably.
Yeah. Primarily because of his reputation as a straight and self-retained farter.
Amen.
Write it down. That is,
Put a rock and CR right
sign,
next to that.
sign it. Just
sign it or
Yeah.
print your name by it. That is forever the Caleb Reeder fart.
Brand it. It's yours.
Where can people find you? I know we talked about this already. What's your Instagram?
my Instagram is CMReader13.
CM Reader 13.
13.
Beautiful. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. Like I said, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. That's where the footage for these podcasts go. The audio's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Instagram is atasso.outfitters. And then the website is where we have our merchandise. We drop episodes every Tuesday and we grow organically. So if you could share the show with somebody, we would really appreciate it. Any closing thoughts?
I'm not gay and I'm not a FUD.
Debatable.
We'll see you guys later. Toodaloo.
Like,
Is
you're
it
gonna
really debatable?
No, it's not debatable. I have a gorgeous girlfriend and I shoot deer ethically.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting here drinking a Miller High Life and calling me a FUD.
You just said you would whack a deer in the head with a golf wedge.
This
That's
is a
ethically?
hypothetical scenario.
That's
where
ethically?
we gave you jumper cables.
Yeah, whatever. You probably had an orange hat on when you did it.
Well, it's gun season.